some of the hottest cars New York has ever seen. From dropping some of the hottest verses rappers ever heard. From the dope spot with the smoke, fleeing the murder scene, you know me well. From nightmares of a lonely cell, my only hell. But since when y'all brothers know me to fail? Heck no, well all my brothers with the rubber grips for shots. And if you with me, mama, rub on your tits and whatnot. I'm from the school of the hard knocks, you must not. That outside is violate our box in my pot. Let's stick up the world and split it 50-50, Let's take the dough and stay real taking, And sip the Chris and get pissy, flowing beneathly like the memory of my brother Biggie, baby. You know it's hell when I come through. The life and times of Sean Carter, brother, volume 2. Y'all brothers get ready. It's the hard knock life for us. It's the hard knock life for us. Instead of treated, we get tricked. Instead of kisses, we get kicked. It's the hard knock life. It's the hard knock life for us. It's the hard knock life for us. Instead of treated, we get tricked. Instead of kisses, we get kicked. It's the hard knock life.
Do we live in a simulation? Probably not, but it is an imitation. The boundary has lifted and there isn't limitation. The technology exists to deliver stimulation. Augmented pixels, vivid integration. We've traded our emotions for digital elation. Where your present entertainment could be sitting in your basement and living in a matrix at the same time. Hidden like Malaysian Airlines, obliviously taken. Can we use this for the base without giving it to Satan? The App Store logo is the symbol of the Masons. Is this even freedom or is it information? How different is your brain to what's written in a paper? Intelligence evolving, artificially created in a singularity. Training algorithms for persuasion. Conditions will remain in a sticky situation. No vision for a change, only silly conversations. Political debates while they fiddle with your data. Then you pity me a fake, phony missionary statements. Whether Christian or pagan or Hinduism is your favorite. Religion is a way of belittling a nation. And this is just the basics. Is it a conspiracy to stake the president's a snake? Or a lizard with a face and any minute he could change? It's difficult to say, but there's unlimited mistakes, and I'm a little bit sick of it today. So I'm sitting here awake inside the pressures in societies. Depression with anxieties, they messing with your mind. It's the stress and no variety. A devil in disguise, you see the redness in your eyes while your head is in the skies. You've never been a liar, but they questioning your life like you've never been alive. Yeah. And whether it's Nick or
All right, glad to be here with you guys. Rue Black in the house. How you doing, Rue?
Pretty good, brother.
Awesome. He has some Swift Coin Alpha and another one he wants to talk about with us in the community, as well as something in regards to tax.
So, all right, guys. Yeah, let's get into it. First, got to acknowledge another Bitcoin high, 105 today. Gotta love that. And it's always a fun time to be on here with Max. And I know Max not feeling too well today, so I'll try to get into it real quick here. We're gonna mention some Swift and some Dragon Chain for you guys here. Let me go ahead and
just real quick while you're sharing that screen, we're just gonna briefly go through some of the comments. I'm not gonna highlight them all, but I want to welcome Tim Shea, Anthony Hall, Oren. Thank you for being here. Kenneth Robinson, Mr. T, Elon Muff, Elon Muff, yes. OG Crypto, Papa Kev, Mr. T, already welcome you. Filipino Ice Cube, you already know who that is. That's Elon Muff. Shook Focus in the house. Fiber Finance, Adam, good to see you, brother. And I think that's it for now. On top of that, pretty good turnout since I haven't done a show in a while. We have 52 on YouTube and 91 on X for 143 total. Awesome. Also, while Rue's pulling that up, let's give him a highlight on his channel, just in case you're brand new to Rue. Here's his channel on X, or YouTube, I should say, excuse me. which is at Black Roo. You see this on the screen. Give him a sub. And like it says right here, Dragon Chain, quite a few others, obviously Swift Coin. And, you know, he covered LCX recently. He also covered Telcoin. So very, very cool. On top of that, here is his X. And he can also be followed at Blackroo on X. So, if anything, we will come back into the screen. And any questions you guys have, just drop them down in the comments. And if anything, if you're ready, sir, we're going to have some Swift Coin Alpha. So, thank you so much.
So, the biggest alpha that I want to hit you guys with is Trump talking about doing making crypto gains tax-free. Now, this is huge. And if you check out my channel, I made a show called The Switch is Flipped. And I've been telling people basically, you know, you got like now 14 days. Because one of the things that's coming up is that the central banks are going to be buying crypto. We can go over that piece of news as well. But I think a lot of these gains that we've seen into all these cryptos, most of them are American, right? Is institutions kind of getting a jump on what Trump is going to announce, which is to make crypto gains on American cryptos tax free. Okay. So 3 US tokens set to skyrocket. But the biggest thing to talk about here is, and we'll read it here. Former President Donald Trump's administration could drastically change the crypto landscape with a proposed policy to eliminate capital gains taxes on US issued cryptocurrencies. Okay. According to the sources close to the transition team, the proposal would apply to tokens created by US companies, potentially turning the country into a tax-free crypto haven. Okay. Now, this is huge news for American cryptocurrencies, 2 of which we're going to talk about tonight. Just taking a look, I was really surprised to see, since Swift is mainly based in Singapore and China, their actual corporate headquarters are in California. So that actually makes them an American cryptocurrency. So they would be tax-free. This is not only big for us as crypto investors, this is going to be hugely big for corporations who would benefit the most for something like this, right? Which is why we've seen American cryptocurrencies like Hedera, XRP, Stellar, Cardano take a huge boost up. You know, that's just not all of those at the same time, and there are more. Telcoin, some of which, you know, I've been talking about on the channel. You know, this is not just retail money, all of those cryptos at the same time, right? So this is the biggest news for Swift, and we've seen Swift price act accordingly. Let me go ahead and get rid of some indicators here before I share it with you guys. Okay, so if we look at Swift's price, it broke a cent here, surprisingly, right before I did my video. So my video was well timed there. And sitting here, you know, in an 88-cent range, I really expect it to continue. It definitely passed its local high for the year, which was somewhere here in March of this year. It's past that. Come back here to kind of touch that, but I definitely see it going further, right? Based on these tax cuts. And that's the biggest news for Swift that we have there. And now I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about Dragon Chain, unless there's something you would like to add, Max.
Well, the way I look at it is, yeah, you did time it just right. I remember when you did a live stream about some of this stuff, and, you know, I think I'll send you some text about, like, wow, look at, you know, Swift Coin. A lot of us are excited about this. I mean, if you look at it from this perspective, we can even throw like Stronghold into the mix, because we were at these prices of the 0.006s, 5s, and now both Stronghold and even Swift Coin are sitting at, well, I should say Swift has dipped down below that penny. But, you know, you're seeing some price action from both. And if anything, it's not just like, oh, this is what's going on, you know, in Europe and the United States. I mean, Swift Coin itself, geographically speaking, you know, we always joke around and call it like Chinese XRP. So I think we're seeing a lot of this stuff doing some things all around the world. And at the end of the day, isn't that the point?
Right, right. And to note there too, Stronghold and another American cryptocurrency. And let me bring up an article here really quickly. One of the things that came out of this as well was that Hong Kong said that they would do zero taxes on crypto. Let's see if I can find that. And you know, Trump, one of the things he's kind of touting himself on is making America great again. So obviously he would want to make sure he's ahead of Trump, of you know, China when it comes to this, right? So here we go. Share this one instead. So here it is, November 29th, which you know, that's a significant date, 11. If you add 2 and a 9, you get 11. So it's like 11. But anyway, Hong Kong removes all taxes on cryptos to become the ultimate offshore financial hub in Asia. And one of the things, again, that Trump has touted is like, okay, well, let's be the crypto hub of the world. Let's be, you know, let's make America great again. So naturally, if Hong Kong has done it, we can probably see, and due to this price action, we can probably believe that America would do the same, right? So I am very, very enthused about that, and I'm very, very enthused about that for American cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I think it is big news. And I mean, yeah, that was on the 29th, but a lot of you guys don't know about some of these things. I mean, a lot of you hardcore guys obviously do, but you like seeing this. And, you know, it's not just here in the United States and so on. So, plain as day, removes all taxes on cryptos to become the ultimate offshore financial hub in Asia. Yeah, I definitely would say that's definitely a big deal. So we'll have to keep following this and go from there.
So then to present to you another American cryptocurrency, this one has been beaten down a lot, Dragon Chain. It even touts itself, if we continue here on Twitter, as America's cryptocurrency. You can see there, Dragon Chain, they have the American flag there. They have their logo with dragon with an American flag. Now, one of the things to note about Dragon Chain is their connections to Disney. Okay, so much so that they have to say most secure and scalable blockchain, formerly Dragon Chain Gang. Opinions do not reflect the position of the Walt Disney Company. So that's led some people to believe that they're not connected to Disney, but we'll go over it here, right? It's just my opinion that they may still be connected to Disney, but I think, quote unquote, officially they're not connected to Disney. But then why would you even post this? Why would you even put this in your documentation or like your front page if you're not connected to Disney in some way?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you would do something like, you know, no association. There'd be different types of terminology. For me, it's just, you know, I've seen other examples of other projects in the past, not to the degree of Walt Disney, but where they put out disclaimers similar to this, because it doesn't represent the opinion. An opinion, it doesn't mean there's no direct association. So I would agree with you on that.
Okay. And then here, there's another article I can reference here to you guys from a company called Inc. Now, it is absolutely true that This Dragon chain was incubated at Disney. Okay, so let's look at this article here. This is from back in 2017. If you can go all the way back there, Disney incubated Dragon chain is creating a magical blockchain platform and ecosystem. A blockchain platform developed and used at Disney and literally powered by dragons. Go ahead and put this down. And we all know this being the year the dragon, and the dragon, that whole creature. There's a certain mythology against or for that creature. So that aside, let's continue. And you can see here too, this is like a whole different language about cryptocurrency. They were talking in 2017 before they started to like make it seem as though the bankers hated cryptocurrency. Goldman Sachs is looking into ways to create a cryptocurrency trading platform. The CEO of Fidelity said that they're actively mining Bitcoin and Ethereum. James P. Gorman, CEO of Morgan Stanley, said cryptocurrencies are certainly more than a fad. Now, Disney incubated Dragon Chain is creating a blockchain platform and ecosystem of their own. Dragon Chain was incubated at Disney by founder and CEO Joel Roetz and his team of developers. Dragon Chain is featured in the Disney open source project. Joe, who I was able to interview for this piece, has quite an interesting background. Not only has he held a position at the Walt Disney Company, but also Overstock.com and the FBI, amongst other notable companies and organizations. So, very talented programmer. Disney is arguably one of the largest and well-known iconic brands in the world, joining the blockchain space. They have been involved since late 2014, 2015, but managed to stay under the radar until now. And this is not some kind of weird side partnership. In fact, Joe pointed out that the crew at Disney have been extremely supportive of this project. The open source community at Disney was excited about the project and very supportive. Okay. We've heard a few cases of various Fortune 100s showing interest in blockchain space, but have not personally heard of them actually using this technology until now. Okay, so that's just something to give you a little kind of sneak peek of. And another thing is the IP that these guys own, Dragon Chain. They have 8 patents. I believe 6 of them are active, 2 of which we're going to talk about right now. They're huge. One patent is the patent on time. So, or it's a patent on a loyalty system, and they call it time. So we'll read it. We'll read it now here. And this patent to me is very, very huge when it comes to NFTs, when it comes to metaverse, when it comes to anything involving loyalty systems. This is very huge. Dragon Chain receives patent for blockchain scaling and loyalty system. May 20th, 2019, blockchain leader Dragon Chain received a patent for a blockchain scaling and loyalty system that tracks and monetizes time with blockchain, published by the United States Patent Office and Trademark Office, April 23rd. And they tend to do things that add up with 9 dates, which, you know, I like 9 too. So April is the 4th month. So 4, 2, 3 is 9. Just aside. This product was described in the filing corresponds to U.S. patent application titled Security Systems and Methods Based on Cryptographic Utility Token Inventory Tenure. Dragon Chain proposes a new value system, Dragon Days of Slumber Score, now known as time, all caps, which captures a time-based score for balances on a blockchain. Time is a breakthrough in digital assets and loyalty rewards. Since time cannot be replaced or fluctuate in value, this introduces a consensus mechanism with advantages over proof of stake and proof of work. Proof of time, the consensus model based on time, all caps, is resistant to tampering and manipulation from bad actors. So they get into some of the nitty gritty of it here. When you look at existing loyalty programs, the rewards are not proportionate to one's actual loyalty. For example, airline rewards are often based on using a credit card to accumulate points rather than rewarding the time someone has flown with an airline. By monetizing time with the blockchain, we have created a new type of value system to recognize true loyalty through immutable measurement. And that's one of the things that Bitcoin says it's immutable. It's one of the attributes of God. If you guys are, believers in God, right? God says he is immutable. God says that he's the Alpha and Omega. I've shown people different gematria-like characteristics for Bitcoin in that way, but the reason why this would be immutable is because it's done with time, and time, I guess, technically time is immutable. You can't tamper it. It's always moving. Tenure-based protocols elevate entities whose contributions have withstood scrutiny over time. They enable Dragon Chain to allocate privileges wisely among diverse participants to minimize the need for sluggish subjective validation and thereby provide a quantum leap in administrative decision speed. The Patent Office approves our application with unusual speed. Dragon Chain continues to expand its status as the primary nexus in blockchain innovation. Now, one of its other patents they're going to mention here, which is very, very, very huge, and this is active, by the way. In November 2018, Dragon Chain also received a patent for interchain, which enabled interoperability with public blockchain networks such as Bitcoin, Ethereum Classic, and more. So they have a patent for interoperability of blockchains, which is really intriguing to think about that too, if they enforced it. Now, before we talk about kind of like what would happen if they enforce these things, definitely with the power of Disney, I think it's a little bit important to talk about. Well, let me see. Do you have any questions, Max, before we continue on here?
No, you're good for now. I will have some
Okay.
A little bit later, though, for sure.
Okay, gotcha. So let's go on to Dragon Chain and their price. And I want to show you guys their price, but I want you guys to realize these guys got targeted by the SEC. So their price is going to look a little terrible to see it, right? But let's do it. Okay, can you see my
Yeah, we see your screen.
Okay. Okay, cool. Let's see. So max price here. So they were as high as $5 something, right? And then they got an SEC case levied against them and their price plummeted. So not only did XRP have this happen to them, Dragon Chain also had that happen to them, where they were like the biggest things in crypto to head down to under a cent almost, right? So now sitting at 5 cents, knowing that their all-time high, they have it here, yeah, $5.46. If this could get back to $5, and you had 100,000 of these things, that's $500,000, right? And that's just getting back to its all-time high, right? Now, what if it broke its all-time high, like Ethereum has done already, Solana, Bitcoin, what have you, right? They've all broken their all-time high this year. Why can't Dragon Chain, right? I think the only thing these guys are waiting for is regulational clarity, which I believe they're going to get in the Trump administration. So let's go again to the SEC target. So I don't know if you guys remember this. This was like 2023, where the SEC said, like, okay, 68 cryptocurrencies are now seen as securities, right, by the SEC. I think Trump and Paul Atkins, who is going to replace Gary Gensler, I think they will. I think they will get rid of this. We've already seen that kind of XRP has gotten that straight as far as the court case goes, and I think that's enough of a leap. I'm not a lawyer, of course, but given all the people that Trump has brought in, Paul Atkins, a former advisor at Securitize. I know Max has definitely mentioned Securitize on this show to you guys a lot, but we'll go over it a little bit more so you guys understand or reminded at least. So with a former advisor of Securitize being your SEC chair, I think he would probably maybe do away with making these securities, especially since we got legal precedent for XRP, right? But as you can see, one of the coins mentioned here is Dragon Chain that they popped for possibly being a security. Another of which is LCX, which we talked about before. And I think once all of this is cleared up, I think we see LCX and Dragon Chain pop. But of course, we also see on here were some American cryptocurrencies like Solana, which is apparently American because they have corporate headquarters here, even though they're started by a Ukrainian guy. Cardano and others here, right? We've already seen those pop as well. But yeah, just to remind you guys of this, and I think this is kind of a built-in catalyst for Dragon Chain, and that the moment this is announced that, hey, we're dismissing this, they're not securities, I think we see like maybe all of these coins pop off, right? So just to remind you guys here, let me bring this up 1 second.
As you're pulling that up, I need to recognize a couple super chats. Want to thank Henry Brown. He's saying what's up to Boomer and Tim. Says if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Get y'all hardware wallet. Oh, next week. You got this guy beating Fury in a rematch. Ah, okay. And then on top of that, another super chat from Henry Brown. Thank you for the super chats, by the way, Henry. We got another $5 super chat. Henry says, at Elon Muff, here next week. RLUSD is supposed to launch, but we will see. In fact, speaking of Elon on X, the XRP supposed to be used. So May 2025, our time. Yeah, I think it's a good way of looking at it. And then on top of that, Henry Brown has been a member for 14 months. Hit the like button and Cash App support the show. Appreciate it, man. Really do. I want to welcome some of you guys I haven't seen in a while, like Cool Cat Crypto. Good to see you, brother Cool Cat. We also have some other familiar faces. Paul Sabakin, if I'm pronouncing that right. You're always really supportive on the channel, on the recorded content, so I really appreciate that. Also want to welcome back Stefan Eckel and River. Good to see you. Boomer F and Sooner, also very good to see you. And there's another person I saw that kind of caught my eye real quick. Metal Shoe, he says, evening, brothers. Glad I caught a live stream. You've been very supportive of this channel as well, so really appreciate you. If there's anybody I skipped, it wasn't on purpose. It's just that, we have special guests, which is Rue. But thank you again, and back to you, Brother Rue.
Okay, here is the Securitize, just a reminder for you guys. This is from Cowboy X on X. He says, not only Ripple is an investor in Securitize, James Wallace, a VP of Central Bank Engagements at Ripple, is on their advisory board. And with newly selected SEC Chairman Paul Atkins, you can see here from Securitize, he was also a former Securitize advisor. So Securitize has a lot of ties here. Here we have like a Ripple tie, and it's also happens that some other news here from Mr. Cowboy X that Securitize is, and I know Max is probably, I'm pretty sure Max has been over this before. Securitize raised 13 million in seed funding from Ripple, Blockchain Capital, and Coinbase, which would also, since Tim Draper owns Coinbase, that would make Tim Draper part owner there of Securitize as well. Subsequently, it was attracted numerous backers from traditional finance. Its 14 million Series A included Santander, which we know is connected to Ripple as well, MUFG, and Nomura. I know Nomura is on Hedera's governance. SBI and Sony, and then we know SBI is connected to Ripple as well. So Securitize is really kind of deep in there as far as is concerned with XRP.
Think about all the ones you just named.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just saying. Think of all the ones you just mentioned there. I mean, Securitize. Yeah, I have covered that a few times, and it's, oh my gosh. I mean, when you talk about like SBI, Sony, it's like SBI XDC, SBI Jasmy, SBI Ripple. Heck, Sony obviously with Jasmy. You got MUFG, which is also like, you know, count them up, right? Like both hands, so many connections there. And, you know, we've done the whole thing of Securitize with obviously, you know, Stellar, I believe in the past. We did Quant a few times. They definitely stand out. So I'm glad you bring this up because sometimes, you know, it's nice to have these reminders.
Yep. And just another bit of news there, guys, is which is running right now, Velo is also related to Securitize here. Velo Labs, and this is from Velo Labs here, brings BlackRock's tokenized short-term treasury fund to Southeast Asia. Velo Labs, a pioneer in web-based financial solutions, today announced that it's the assets that back Velo's USDV token, the stablecoin of Velo ecosystem, are now comprised of an investment in BlackRock's USD institutional digital liquidity fund, Buildel, tokenized by Securitize. USDV serves as the primary store of value and unit of transfer across Velo's suite of payment and trading applications. So a Velo tie as well here, and another BlackRock tie. And if I can pull up one other thing from Mr. Cowboy here. Let me see. I got to go on my profile again to get it. 1 second. Again, from Cowboy X. For the ones who don't know by now, Paul Atkins is on a on the advisory board of Securitize, along with Ripple's James Wallace. Joseph Shalom is also on their board of directors and has served over 19 years as managing director and head for BlackRock's strategic ecosystem partnerships. So all of these guys kind of mixing and tying together. BlackRock, Ripple, Buildel, you know, all of these guys kind of tying together. So Velo is another sleeper there, but just to kind of show there, you know, we have a SEC chair that will probably be very willing to drop this case on these cryptocurrencies. So I think that's a built-in catalyst for Dragon Chain to take off. And again, it's American cryptocurrency started by an American. One thing to note, we're going to share this tab. They talk about enterprise NFTs, and remember that whole thing they were talking about with that time patent for the time deal that they have with NFTs. I see so many applications as far as metaverse is concerned. But again, we have commodities, supply chain, manufacturing, identity management, real estate, insurance, music industry, movies industry, events, voting, energy, licensing. I don't know if you guys have noticed or played video games like I don't know if you guys know about the Lolly app where they give you some Bitcoin for using your card that you link to Lolly. They also have a little arcade mode where you can play a little arcade game and they give you Bitcoin for that. So that's essentially using your time for Bitcoin or your time for some type of crypto reward, which is what I take this patent to kind of mean. Like that's really, really huge when you think about like metaverse and metaverse gaming and going through like metaverse worlds, and doing jobs, right, and getting paid for it. I see so many applications for that. And then if you brought in Disney's IP with all of that stuff, and possibly having NFTs for discounts or loyalty rewards to the Disney parks or Universal Studios or for Disney movies and Disney memorabilia, like the list kind of goes on there. Or Disney music events with all the Disney, musical artists, right? Or, commodities. We know different things as far as like energy web token and real estate as far as like Propy and stuff like that. There's so many applications for this patent, which if they do still have the backing by Disney, they can definitely have the money to enforce these patents for real. Yeah, and that's part of the reason too. I really think they have backing by Disney because it takes money to issue these patents and get these patents issued. It also takes money to kind of maintain these patents. And given all the IP and stuff that Disney has, I could see these patents being very, very, very huge for them.
And speaking of money, we want to highlight a super chat that came in. It is from Papa Kev. Thank you very much. He says, thank you very much. Yes. So thank you very much, sir. And good to see you. Thanks for all the support on X from you. Definitely appreciate it, Papa Kev. Hopefully you're having a good Sunday night. Just wanted to point that out real quick. Thank you again, Papa Kev. Back to you, man.
Sure. And yeah, so let's see here. I think those were the ones that I really wanted to focus on with you guys today. But one thing just before I give the floor, I just wanted to show you guys Velo and the nice time it's having right now.
Sure, we'll go ahead and full screen that.
So definitely just passed its 2024 high, which was over here in March again, just like another coin we were just looking at. And of course, with this connections to Securitize, maybe we see this guy just continue to go, right? This is another one that was at a high value at one time as far as like over $1. I think the tokenomics might have been a little bit different then at that point. But I still think it may, not financial advice or anything like that. Still think it has dollar value in it if you consider all the things it's done and it's going to do for that area, considering Thailand and all the connections they have over there. But yeah, just wanted to show you guys that. And oh yeah, and the dragon chain chart. Let me bring that up right quick.
All good.
That's Dragon Sun. I don't even know what that is. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So again, this one's really close to getting back to the 200 here. And yeah, I think we're like really still early for this, but I think once they get the whole regulational clarity, I don't see any reason why it can't get back to its all-time high. So, sitting here, it just seems like very much of a bargain. And for those who are trying to get this, is really hard to get Dragon Chain, even though it doesn't show on CoinGecko or whatever. But you can buy this on SushiSwap. And different guys were saying different ways you could buy it last night. If you check out the show I did on this last night, let me share the screen. So yeah, you can. Okay, it does show it on here. It does show it on. It didn't show this on CoinMarketCap, but it does show it on CoinGecko. You can buy it on SushiSwap, Gate.io, and those are probably the only two places as of right now.
Okay. Well, Uniswap is not the end of the world. There's MetaMask, there's Coinbase Wallet, yeah.
But yeah, that's what I wanted to hit you guys with. I think it's going to be really good for American cryptocurrencies coming up once Trump signs this bill. And last thing. And why I've been telling people they've had like 13 days or 14 days. I always reference this to my people, and I think I referenced this on you guys' channel before. But I just have to say it every time so people understand like this is a huge catalyst. This was December 17, 2022. Central banks set standards on banks' exposure to crypto, and this is from the BIS. And I'm going to read this the way it should be written, not the way they wrote it. So basically, on January 1st, 2025, which is less than like 14 to 15 days away, the new standard will go into effect where central banks can buy crypto reserves up to 2% of their official reserves in 2025, January 1st. Okay, so this is huge. What are some of the things they would buy? I'm thinking like American cryptocurrencies, maybe things that the central banks would want to have to trade with or to use, i.e. like a Quant, i.e. like a XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, this is just my speculation. But any article it says, including tokens and traditional assets, stable coins, and unbacked cryptocurrencies. Okay, so I really think that date, January 1st, 2025, will be the flip of the switch moment. And we might have some more once Trump signs all these rules into play. Trump officially gets into office the 20th of January. That's also when Gensler says he is resigning. So we got a whole bunch of catalysts coming up, and I'm just excited for 2025.
Me too. Go down to that part about Basel on that screen real quick. I just want to point something out to you guys. So you see right here, it says Prudential Treatment of Crypto Asset Exposures introduces the final standard structure for banks regarding exposure to digital assets, including tokenized traditional assets, stablecoins, unbacked cryptocurrencies, as well as feedback from stakeholders, yada, yada, right? But it says Basel Committee on banking supervision noted the report will soon be incorporated as a new chapter into the consolidated Basel framework. So about roughly, I want to say about maybe a month, maybe 2 months ago, give or take, I did a piece about this. So it was, if you guys seen the thumbnails, about Basel selects quant. People who, they do this all the time.
That's awesome.
Well, they do this all the time. People who don't have time to get into the dies and whatnot, look at the thumbnail and be like, nope, not happening. I actually show evidence of that. So for one, we know that when it comes to the Bank of International Settlements, I don't care who it is. Yeah, BIS is the central bank of central banks. Well, you have, for example, Banque de France is the oversight of the BIS. But check it out. The big aha moment is Basel, right? They're the supervisor committee of the central banks. So it's like, and then for them to select quant, literally with the evidence that says quant through what? TC 307. So to see this in regards to another deadline, mandate, whatever you want to call it, nice find by Rue. So, boom.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Oh, that means I got to buy like 10 more quant now.
Well, the big dates. I mean, in reality, it's January, like you pointed out. There's some big dates coming up in regards to the Swift deadlines, right? So Swift point out some things. Also the BIS. Obviously January. March is a big. Let's face it, that's a big deal. 2025, and then of course the whopper of them all. November 2025. Specific dates, no, but those are the months. So the way I look at it is, it's taste of the utility runs. I mean, this is still retail. I mean, so many people, I see it all the time, and no knock on anybody. How many times you go to like other streams and whatnot, and you'll see people are like, well, should I just sell at, take my profits at 290 or sell at 3? And when I talk about XRP and whatnot, it's like,
yeah,
good God, you never gave this a real chance to really do its thing. This is still just a retail market. I don't know why that's not being said enough, personally.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, you see the fear articles come out, and people get scared, and it's like, okay, they've been holding for so long, but after you you listen to this channel and others, right? Like you listen to these channels and you understand what XRP is really for, and you like who's invested in it. Are they really just holding for like $3 and then it's gonna go back down? Like, no, of course not. So yeah, I completely agree with you, bro.
Or on top of that, what people do is they'll, again, nothing against anybody. It's just, I think it's different interpretation. They'll look at some of these assets, especially XRP, right? I mean, we could even throw probably Stellar into the mix too. I mean, which is similar, right? But the thing is, they'll say, like, there's not enough money in the world for this to happen. All right, derivatives market, debt market. We talk about literally, it's not me. Michael Saylor has been bullish about BTC for the longest time and won't ever shut up about, because he says it's literally, digital property. Okay. All right. What about some of these other ones that are also boasting some of those things? So it's like, it's not just like a one-time transaction. That's my point. You add up all of this. I mean, heck, even cash to a sense is not a one-time transaction if you really look at it, if you're really going to get technical about it. So it's like, why are we getting tunnel vision? Why are we narrowing it down to one thing? That's the only point I'm trying to make, right? I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but I've seen that quite often where, like, people can't fathom, like, for example, XDC, when it comes to derivatives market, they're like, quadrillions, there's no way, there's not enough money in the world. Okay. Well, why is there only going to be one transaction? That's my take anyway.
Yeah, I agree. And Yeah, I think people are very short-sighted with it, and I think that's like on purpose with the media, right? Like, I think they've done a really good job of getting people's kind of focus shifted to meme coins, and for the longest time, you know, the utility coins were down and down and down and down. They got sufficiently focused people onto meme coins, and now utility goes up, you know, past most of the point where most people are, you know, people could have really comfortably invested in Hedera at 4 cents and XRP at, you know, 30 cents, right? Or Stellar at 10 cents, but now it's 42 and you know, $2 and 40 some cents, and
Oh
HBAR is
man,
like 30 cents a coin. So
how about ones that people never talk about? Clearpool, for crying out loud. My last bag was 2 cents. That thing went up to 58 cents. That outperformed XRP, Stellar, Quant, Jasmy. I love those ones. Don't get me wrong, but I look at it like that did a 27x, right? Even Jasmy from Binance US FUD to where it went to 4.4 cents, that was a 15x. And don't get me wrong, we went up to what, almost 6 cents. So I mean, I got to do the math on that. But there are gems that are out there that, you know, none of people are talking about. But obviously you're talking about some of this stuff and bring it to the community. And I'll have to learn a little bit more in regards to, you know, this whole thing about Dragon Coin and whatnot, and not to be confused with what, right? Draper Dragons, totally different thing.
and I was seeing somewhere that they said Clearpool is partnered with Securitize. Is that true?
I don't know about that, but what I was going to state is they are partnered with Jane Street. And if you guys follow Wall Street, that is the biggest name in Wall Street. And that partnership, I remember covering that, was early 2022. So my thing is this, I know that we're kind of getting off the subject, but you know, it's crypto. So my thing is there's only 1 billion tokens. 72% is in the supply and circulation. And on top of that, when we talk about, I always, you know, overstate this term, but it's a real thing. It's like what ones really do have current utility in motion. So there's so many projects we talk about. We hope that the utility will be utilized in the future. This is utility now, right now. It's going on right as we speak, right? VCs need to be funded now, not wait until regulations and all this stuff happens. So that is a real world asset tokenization platform that's doing it big for VCs. And unlike the nonsense that's out there, such as your FTXs back in the day, you have an example of they don't just onboard anybody. They vet all these particular VCs. All right. So there's lending. There's the whole thing of you have your stable coins sitting around doing nothing. Bring them over to the platform. It's just so many different layers. And then for people who are like, well, it's just Ethereum. No, it's not. They got Mantle. They got Polygon. They have Optimism. And oh, by the way, disclaimer, for all those people out there like Quant and Jasmy, there's nothing there. I got to share this. I'll share this on another video. If you go to Quant Network, there is a disclaimer on Quant Network that Optimism, Sequoia, by the way, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Sequoia, full 100% interoperability. So all the research that I've been getting criticized for about 2 or 3 years now, saying that Quant and Jasmy is a big nothing burger. How about this? Jasmy, with Shanction, that layer 2 of AI times deepen, is on what? Optimism, Sequoia. If I had a freaking mic, I would drop it right now.
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm just saying. So anyway, bro, do you got some Swift coin for us, or should we take a pause, or what do you got to do?
Well, no, that's it. That's it for me.
All right, fair enough. Well, with that said, I want to respect your time, and you know, because I got to get into some of this other stuff. But nonetheless, we're going to recognize some comments. We're going to give Rue a plug to his channel. Thanks for introducing. It was kind of a flip of the script, if you will, but thank you for introducing the whole thing of, you know, Dragon Coin with us. Thanks for talking about some of this tax. What's going on with taxes? Everybody wants to know about that. And you know, the way I look at it is, yeah, we kind of briefly talked about Swift Coin, but you know, glad to bring it to you guys just in case you're brand new to our brother Rue. Here is his channel. Let's just go ahead and pull this up on the screen. You can be followed over at Black Rue. He does live shows. Is there anything you want to highlight real quick in regards to your channel?
Definitely take a look at Swift's taking off. Really good one there. Also, the American super cycle, how Swift will be affected by Trump, and then the switch is flipped, which is a little bit further down. I think it's like a switch on it somewhere.
Speaking of
That
further
one,
down, the piece on Justin Sun real quick. I had no
yeah,
idea about this until recently. Years ago, many, many, many years ago, apparently he worked with Ripple. I had no
yeah,
idea about that. I had no clue about that. That's interesting.
yeah, and yeah. We mentioned that in that one too. That was a good video as well, but like almost no one watched it. I don't know, maybe because I just don't talk about Tron that much, but it's interesting, you know, with all these Chinese tariffs possibly happening, that Justin Sun comes and he spends, you know, $30 million to get into, you know, Trump's crypto and becomes an advisor on Trump's crypto, right? Um, so if there are Chinese tariffs, maybe they don't affect Tron, or you know, I don't know. It just seems like there's a little bit more than that, more to that than what's on the surface. And Justin Sun's always been like kind of a shrewd guy, and yeah, I think that's an excellent video as well to watch. Um, it really makes you think. You know, Tron's in some good hands.
I'm glad to finally see something going on with it because, you know, I've been invested into a couple projects on the Tron blockchain since 2021 and early 2022. So I've been holding over a billion BTT. And then I've also been holding probably a couple million or more of the Win coin. Some people call it Wink. It's tied into casinos. I always felt as though that has to be something that's going to pop off at some point because when we talk about Macau, I'm sure you may be familiar with Macau. I mean, over here in the
Yeah,
United States, we have like, you know, was it Atlantic
Vegas.
City? We got Vegas and Reno, right? Those always stand out. But, you know, over there, it's like Macau, that's a real thing. So when I read a while back that this was going to be a utility token tied into Macau, I was like, well, at some point, that will have to turn the tide, if you will.
Yeah.
And I finally starting to see a little bit about it, and you know, I was like, I didn't want to sell for a loss, so I've been holding that one. You guys talk about hodling. I've been holding that a long time. So anyway, give Rue a follow. Also, we're on X. Here it is. It's full screen. This is you know, on both of them, on YouTube and X. It's the same one at Black Rue, and you know, help him build up his base over here. I saw you had a huge show not that long ago on, I think it was both on X and YouTube because you're doing the dual stream or wherever it was. But yeah, that one where it says Swift takes off, sub penny to a
Yeah.
dollar. Yeah, that's a big show
Yeah,
for
that's
you,
my
brother.
biggest
15x.
show. That's my
Yeah.
biggest show to date. Like people really liked it. It's my first, like that's my first time I think getting those many viewers. I was really happy with that show. You know, and anybody who's cut, like definitely people should catch it. It's a really good show.
Yeah, like a Sally Field moment, you know. They like me. They really like me, you know.
Exactly. For sure, bro. 100%.
It is a feel good moment, especially when you talk about stuff that most people don't talk about, and then it pops off, and then people are trying to search like crazy about, you know, who covered this, and then they filter on in like it's or funneling, you know what I mean? So props to you, brother. That's awesome. And also Underdog Research Channel, and some of the other guys. I saw Shook Focus in the channel chat. Shout out to you guys. You know, Indigo Saint. I haven't talked to him in a while, but hopefully he's well. Yeah. Well, you got anything you want to share before we send you off into the 1 hour sunset?
No, that's it. Thank you so much, brother. And thanks everybody for having me. The community is always welcoming when I come over here, Tim Shea and others. Thank you guys so much. It's always a pleasure.
Well, great to have you on, Rue. And like I said, give him a follow, guys. And Rue is not a person that hasn't been on has only been on this show once or twice. We used to do, the whole thing of at least once a month. Hopefully we get back to that. As you guys know, I've been sick since, I don't even know. It was not Wednesday of last week, but the week before that. So I'm still trying to get over it and so on. Literally before the show, had a little episode. And, we were going to try to do I was also going to try to find some Swift coin for you guys, but I got some other things to get into. But Real, I want to keep you. You're looking great, working out, pumping iron, man. And we're glad to have you, man. We will hook up for that lunch/dinner. I'll have to get with you on that. And we got to make that happen, man.
Yeah, bro, that will be very fun. Yes, for sure. For sure.
Absolutely. All right, brother. Well, I won't keep you. We'll say goodbye to Rue, and I'm going to get back into the chat and recognize some of you guys. So,
peace, guys.
Peace out, Rue. Glad to have you. So, we're going to get back into the chat. Let's see what, excuse me. See what comments you have. The next segment will be Quant XRP. It's a little bit of both together. And then after that, then we'll close it out. But there's quite a bit of a piece I want to get into in that regard. So let's see here. You know the answer on that. Yeah, I still feel that way. Maybe some other people don't, but that's okay. I also want to welcome Brian Dowie. He's always got that Vaseline and so on. We got Stump Rider in the house. If I skipped anybody, it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't on purpose at all. Mayor Awana. Eduardo LTC, welcome. We got Stump Rider. Glad to have you guys. Let me go further down into the comments. MO. Glad to have you. Or maybe it's just Mo, All right, let's see here. Craig Berg. You guys rocks. Thanks for everything from Rob's channel. Hey, shout out to Rob. I will be joining him on a collaboration next month with a few other, I should say at least 2 or 3 Jasmy ambassadors. So it's a Jasmy roundtable again. So I believe it's going to be, Jasmy US. Okay, who's Spencer? There's going to be Rob. There's myself. There's Jesse, who's an ambassador. There's also Brian. I forgot who the next person is. I'm not an ambassador. Neither is, a couple of these other guys. But, Brian is a real ambassador. Jesse's a real ambassador. And so is Spencer, Jasmy US. So, should be an interesting show. Paul, welcome back. I welcomed you earlier, but glad to have you. Always good to see you. Cool cat. BB in the house. Thank you. Yeah, I'm still trying to get over this whole thing. So, anyway. And let's read this. Joey Pelletieri. Shout out Max and Rue. You guys are the best. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. All right. Reality Trailers case was dropped over a decade ago by the U.S. Department. Crypto Hulk. No, speaking of Crypto Hulk, this is all in good fun. I respect the Hulk, but I saw this. It was kind of funny. And if anything, you guys need to get a laugh before you jump into the next thing. So nonetheless, yeah, what the heck, right? So this is for all you Crypto Hulk fans. He does bring alpha, let's face it. I have nothing against him, but I thought this was interesting to see this posted on YouTube, to say the least. So XRP Alpha Secrets. Crypto Hulk doesn't want you to know. What is he talking? What is the Hulk talking about here? Let's go ahead and play this. Here we go.
We got our cakes and Ripple. Don't copy what I do. And oh shit. It sure went there the first time. Don't copy what I do. Look, you don't have evidence like me. You have to acknowledge that. You have nothing. You're a fucking eunuch. You know what eunuch is? They take care of all the harem women. They chop their nuts off. Okay, that's you. All right? You don't have the evidence out there. Oh, fuck, Crypto Hulk. He must have one about like that big. Oh, man. I want to see it.
Definitely don't want to see that, but nonetheless, I do want to see his alpha in regards to XRP. So shout out to Crypto Hulk. I mean, it was all good and fun, I guess. Anyway, maybe some people are offended by that, but it is what it is. But yeah, thought I'd point that out. Somebody mentioned Crypto Hulk, so I happen to see that, and glad to share it with you guys. All right, let's see here. Short window to compound. Possibly Paul. Christopher Carr says another beautiful discussion to fall asleep to. Oh, we're making you fall asleep. Well, maybe I should, be like Tom Peterson back in the day, for people from Portland, Oregon. Wake up. Hey, wake up to a happy day. Wish I still had that alarm clock. Thanks for Seapool. Hey, you're welcome. Chuff 11, options out there. Flare, Songbird, Axelar, interoperability tokens. Absolutely. All right. Yes, give him a follow. It's another good point. Proud for Puerto Rico XRP. There are many projects that are interconnected in some way, like XRP, Stellar, Zenfin, XDC, HBAR, Stronghold, Velo. I don't have any thoughts on Ephraim. There's going to always be ones that I know about and you guys don't, and vice versa. But, I'm rooting for your success. Stefan Eckel, Rue Black, thanks for sharing. You're welcome. All right, let's see how far behind I am. I'm not that far behind, so that's cool. Gerald's in the house. Good to see you, brother Gerald. Thanks for all the support on recorded, live, and so on. And we also got Kenneth Robinson. Welcome back. Always love the hat. Maybe I should put on my old hat. It's not the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's, Portland Diamond Project. But anyway, it's getting the P's going on. Kenneth says that he thinks that 2% of bank balance sheets will make XRP explode. That's a great point. Absolutely. All right. Wello. Hello. Oh, well, hello to you too. All right. Anyone know when the XRP IPO is supposed to be? Maybe Tim Shea or Brian Dowie, maybe. I don't know. You have a question. How many XDC and Velo do we need to accumulate? I can't give an answer for, Velo. My thing is this. It's about how long you choose to hold some of these things. For me, when it comes to XDC, I guess I could lowball. I could say a minimum of 10,000. That's just my own personal opinion. Thank you, Danny. That's awesome. All right. Great highlight. Yeah, no problem. Yes. We're going to get into another outline here in a bit. It's going to be good stuff, I promise. And then it'll be chopped up later. You guys know the drill. I don't know. I don't know, man. That's an interesting question. So it's all in good fun. All right. What's the symbol for secure? So securitized doesn't have a token or a coin. So that's a different type of thing. All right. Dreams of Quant. So you're still awake. So that's cool. All right. Let's get into some of the newest developments, I should say. So let me start that over. Let's get into some of the newest developments in regards to Quant and also, believe it or not, a highlight for Ripple XRP. You guys have been following me for a while. I cover a lot of the RLN, which is the Regulated Liability Network, and of course the RSN, the Regulated Settlement Network. Emphasis will be on Regulated Settlement Network. As we know, when it comes to real-time gross settlements, Ripple XRP definitely takes the cake in that regard. So for this segment, you're going to see some new developments in regards to Quant and some things that have been happening in the background. Now, a little disclaimer. Yes, Quant is no longer on X. I mean, technically speaking, they are. But you have to go to places like LinkedIn, the institutional X, to get some of this coverage. There was a video that was posted on Velo from some key people in regards to RSN and also from Citi. This is another update in regards to a clip from a video I did maybe about 2 or 3 videos back. Smash the like if you haven't done so already. Let's get into the material and why I'm bringing it to you guys. First thing we're going to jump into is from this particular posting that was not that long ago from LinkedIn. Shout out to Quant Papa for some of the clips, some of the research, and so on in this collaboration. I'm going to take you over to LinkedIn, and what you're going to see here is some things should catch your attention, because 2025 is coming really, really soon. First thing that's mentioned over here is 2 days ago from UK Finance, by the way. It says here specifically that the government is developing a new financial services growth and competitive strategy to help their sector thrive and enhance its ability to support growth across the whole UK economy. Now, I get it, guys. You guys want to see a lot of focus on what's going on in the US. Again, understand that UK is literally setting the precedents moving forward, the standard moving forward, not just because of the whole thing of TC 307 with Quant, but again, what did Rue mention earlier? Standards. So what do we have here? Well, HM Treasury. As we know, HM Treasury will always stand out because Gilbert Verdian's connections to them, how long he's worked with them, and so on. Over 20 years plus in cybersecurity. As I get further into this, I want to point out some key highlights. So what is their strategy? What are their key goals? Well, 6 of them. And they state that they're going to reinforce and build their sector with strong foundations. Unlock financial services growth engine. These terms, growth engine, well, what kind of platform is running on that engine? Think about it for a moment. Driving innovation, technology, advancing sustainable finance, enhancing and modernizing capital markets. You like the terms. Capital market ecosystems are absolutely ripping right now, especially things like Clearpool, meeting the skills, needs, and financial services providers and users. All right, so they got a commitment. They're definitely working with the UK government. They're working with industry partners and so on. But remember how Gilbert Verdian literally pointed out last August about a call to action? Well, in my opinion, this is the call to action. Now we have what they refer to as a call to evidence. As I full screen this, I'm going to point out some other key things from ukfinance.org, but if anything, jumping down to this next particular part, because when we get further into it, well, what do you have from ukfinance.org.uk? It's about policy and guidance, consultation, responses. Basically, in a nutshell, it's the UK finance response in regards to HM Treasury's call for evidence. So we know that Quant is referred to as the industry's foundation for building on blockchain. But their other slogan recently is the foundation for digital finance. Okay? So emphasis is on finance. So the government is developing a new financial services growth and competitive strategy. And when I got further down into this, I thought I would highlight this because we just had Rue on the show. Rue pointed out the highlights of what's going on in 2025. The government plans to publish its financial services growth and competitive strategy in spring of 2025. Does this not sound like it's in alignment with the deadlines that were mentioned with the BIS of March of 2025? I think that's definitely worth pointing out. It says this is going to be alongside its overarching industry strategy. They'll be working closely, of course, with the government as it develops its thinking on both strategies over the coming months. All right. So this was posted literally on December 12th. Capital markets and wholesale, consultation responses, and if anything, again, why is it a big deal? Well, how many times did you see posts about anti-money laundering, counter-terrorism and so on? Well, how about this for the UK government? Anti-bribery and corruption for 2025. They have a forecast that shows that the anti-bribery and corruption agenda is heating up. Okay, so with all these people, well, they come together, and that brings us to INAPA. We see Dr. Luke Riley. He was a moderator at this particular presentation, if you will. If you've been following INAPA closely, INAPA always comes up in discussion, especially when it comes to things like XDC, heck, even Ripple XRP, all the big players, right? But emphasis is on, of course, interoperability. This literally happened 2 days ago in this panel. And you also see here, joining forces for blockchain standardization. Well, how so? Because if anything, Quant is its own standard in itself. ISO TC307, the foundation for building on blockchain, interoperability at full scale. As I get further into this, I want to take you over to this particular clipping from Quant Papa. So we talked about some of these agendas. Danelle Dixon said that in 2025, there would be an emphasis on DAOs. Boy, was she ever right. So we see smart contracts. Stellar obviously is taking the cake with that when it comes to Sorbonne. But DAOs and governance, interoperability, identity and wallets. In this outline, we'll at least give it honorable mention. Are you guys aware there's a thing called the Over Wallet? In another deep dive, I'll get more into that. So when we talk about Quant leading the charge when it comes to interoperability, understand this. They're also going to lead the charge in the future with this thing literally called the Over Wallet. Now, we know about Quant when it comes to the Overledger platform, when it comes to true interoperability, blockchain agnostic, and so on. But in the future, to be able to have something called the Over Wallet, where you have full interoperability, if you will, with things like MetaMask, Coinbase Wallet, all that, but more importantly, what Augustine Carson's was referring to in regards to the Finternet, and having offline versions of this. Well, what about offline wallets? Again, the Over Wallet. We're going to get more into that on another day. As I jump back into this, I want to put some emphasis on, again, some of the materials. Unified ledgers and what's next. Would Ripple XRP be part of this mix? Well, you better believe it. But these speakers at this particular event included some key people. And here's the highlight without getting too technical. How many times do you see reference in regards to ISO? How many times do you see reference in regards to LACchain? And also IEEE. As we see here, you see people from Quant, like Alex Chirac. You see, for example, some other key people. And you also see numerous mentions, once again, about Quant. Dr. Luke Riley, Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. And again, constant references to what, everybody? People from ISO. So when we talk about the deadline happening in 2025, and you have this meetup, and you have the whole emphasis on what? This right here, about joining forces for interoperability. Well, again, put two and two together. Try your own conclusion. See what outcome you will come out with. All right. I did mention the whole thing about unified ledgers. INAPA had this whole thing, of course, on the 13th, but Alex Chirac was there. He did his own presentation. It was only about 20 minutes, but the emphasis was unified ledgers within regulated liability networks. All right. If Quant isn't that much of a big deal, why is all of the big players from ISO meeting up with them? Yeah, I think you understand where I'm going with this. And speaking of which, there's some key highlights that I think even needs to get mentioned in that regard. Because if you follow ALGO, well, this gentleman, Professor Silvio Macaulay, founder of ALGO Technologies, accepted the Humanitarian Excellence Award. What do you see in the background in regards to this, everybody? INAPA. What do you also see in the background? European Union blockchain. All right. So if all the big players with INAPA met with Quant for interoperability, well, we also understand that you can have Algorand part of the mix of obviously ISO, because they are ISO 222 compliant. But are they also part of the whole thing of the RLN, the RSN? I believe we've done that research in the past, but definitely worth noting. As I jump more into this, I want to take you over to inapa.org, because you see all these particular winners, if you will. And the key thing is a lot of emphasis, not just on Professor Silvio Macaulay, but it's the top part. INAPA Awards 2025, the Summit Awards of the Blockchain Ecosystem. Embrace the success of their third edition, celebrating worldwide projects doing what? Leveraging blockchain for positive industry transformation. Okay, so there's tickets to this and so on. And again, some of these deadlines coming up. Speaking of deadline, it literally shows that there's a voting deadline on the 15th of January 2025. Back to Rue Black's call to action in regards to January 1st. Then there's another one, which is the winners being announced, and that's cool and all, but that's not necessarily utility in motion. But again, these people meeting up because the new shift of what's going to happen in regards to 2025. And APA, if you weren't aware of it, is referred to as the International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications. Speaking of APA, just in case you're wondering, the Quant connection, what do we have here? We have, straight from the Quant Network site, all the way back to March 6th of 2019, Quant Network is a founding member of APA. So it's not just like, oh, APA has a partnership with Quant. Oh, they have this thing that just recently happened with Quant. No, Quant is a founding member of APA. So when we talk about, having chairmen of the boards meeting at a particular board meeting at this giant table, like I always mentioned before, how about Quant being literally the table? And Quant Network being a pioneer in setting the blockchain agenda, again, for governments. And what do we have going into 2025? This exact same quote, if you will. All right, how about this? Quant Network, been a pioneer, I should say. I just said about the blockchain agenda. But firstly, by founding the blockchain ISO standard TC 307 in 2015, by the way, where 53 countries, and now it's a lot higher than that, now collaborate globally to implement a standard that will be adopted globally by government and technology and service providers. Back to what Rue Black was talking about with those standards leading into 2025. How has this not aged well? Quant Network will also drive and facilitate the collaboration of APA with ISO TC 307. All right, awesome. What else do we have in regards to this? Well, shout out to Sebastian. He's part of our panel. He is absolutely great guy, and he hosts these X Spaces, and I encourage you to follow us over on X. As you can see, it can be followed at DPG Maximus, but every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, we do these Q&T discussions about what's going on with Q&T. So if that's your thing, definitely come and join us over there. But I will full screen this because this is something that's worth citing because I'm talking about it. So Sebastian talks about how Quant Network will be attending APA. We've been there, done that. But in numbers, this is great. APA, 140 members from 32 countries. 42 organizations from 32 countries, 64 academic advisory members from 20 countries. But hey, just worry about them leaving X. I'll worry about that when they truly relentlessly do and build, right? Yeah, their focus is not on retail, Don't get me wrong, on X, there's Ripple XRP, Stellar, and so on. But again, the way I look at it is, Quant is doing some things that they just feel as though they don't need to worry about a retail narrative on X. Speaking of which, let's talk about some other things. So what do we have? Well, I want to point this out for you guys. Yes, I realize that Broadridge is not part of Quant, but how many times did I point out about HQLA with, for example, Quant for interoperability and so on? So this is from Ledger Insights. Broadridge expands DLT repo solution for HQLA workflow with Canadian Tier 1 bank. In the past, I talked about some of this, about, for example, repo swaps. This was posted, of course, back in September, but I want you guys to understand that Broadridge expanded beyond repo to management of high-quality liquid assets, with Tier 1 Canadian bank adopting new features. All right. Well, when you see some of these things about processing of trillions of dollars, months and transactions and so on, well, how do we have this tied into things like even with the RLN? That's the point I'm trying to bring to you guys. All right. So using the platform, HQLA is locked and tokenized, supporting its transfer using smart contracts. Look at this quote for a second. This implementation not only simplifies the workflow and generates cost savings, but also lays the foundation for further DLT use cases that can drive even greater efficiencies and innovation in the financial sector. Okay. Well, speaking of that sector, will that lead to other particular big players? And the answer is yes. And here's the highlight. The cash leg can be settled in the conventional manner. In May, DLR integrated with JP Morgan's JPM coin to support on-chain settlement with the two blockchain technologies integrated via what APIs? Now think about that for a moment. In the deep dives, how many times do we talk about JP Morgan with Quant through the Overledger? Now, people say indirectly speaking, yes and no. We saw a few months back that JP Morgan selected, for example, Oracle, and Oracle's infrastructure is with the Overledger. Oracle is part of the TC307 Quant Overledger ecosystem. So to see this, well, again, put two and two together even with that. This brings us to this next part. And this is one of the main highlights of this particular live show. And this will, of course, be chopped up later for you guys. And that is this. It's the people behind the scenes, the meetups. If all of this went right over your head, at least look at this key area. Because here, you're going to see this. I told you I'd give you an RSN update. Here in the update, you see, plain as day, regulated settlement network, POC use cases. The RSN POC tested two scenarios. Again, back to what you saw literally. Where? Right here. Aha. Exactly. So, where am I going with this? Well, it's a multi-asset DVP settlement. Remember how we put some emphasis a while back about the guy from the RLN talking about if you can accomplish delivery versus payment, you have literally grabbed the most unsung but most important aspect of cross-border payments. So look what it says. Cross-network settlement. Those scenarios consisted of what? We're going to get into this. Because if we're able to solve this, like what was pointed out from the RLN about client to client, bond versus, for example, delivery versus payment settlement, and also have dealer to dealer with the treasury. Well, how many times did Quant mention this in the past? I'm not going to do another deep dive about this. But the key thing is all these people came together, especially the ones from Citi, and they're talking about this. How do I link this to Ripple XRP? You need to sit here for a moment and soak this in. I fast forward to this key area of this video. This is a long video. Listen to this. Smash the like if you haven't done so already. Pay attention to this. Here we go.
We'll get into some of the reasoning for that, but then also to demonstrate some of the flexibility and optionality for institutions based on their preferred setup to establish some direct API-based connectivity between a network and the RSN, as we'll see in the kind of NTN use case from Jonathan. On the Swift piece and the approach that we took, I can kind of break it down. There's kind of two key components. The first is a kind of a central orchestration and routing layer, which, because again, we're in this experimental sandbox state, we've got a simulated version of Swift's platform that handles orchestration type of capabilities. And then the kind of second piece is a lightweight interface component that can actually be deployed onto each of these different respective networks, whether that's the RSN, the NTN, Broadridge, Tacit, et cetera. That's technology agnostic. And really what that allows is to be configured by the local network operator to identify when you have kind of cross-network identified transactions, handling translation, again, into the ISO 20022 format and back into the kind of local native DLT formats, and really having that be an interface into the kind of overall orchestration layer in between. There's the kind of the benefits of following this Swift approach. Thanks, Roy. The benefits of following this Swift model approach that we think if you have a bit more of a standardized, secure type of gateway connection rather than a multitude of different bilateral connections that could be the case. Obviously, in a contained POC environment with a handful of networks, there's a lot of value in proving out point-to-point connections, and there's benefits there. But when we, someone mentioned earlier scalability, and we think around kind of long-term potential scalability of solutions like this, that's where we see some of the value in the hub and spoke type of model that we kind of primarily opted to use for this. And then the kind of last part is, I guess, just and Jonathan will go more into that, is again, just really allowing different modes of interoperability and integration to be tested. Obviously, every institution that will connect has different design choices, different considerations that they're looking at, and any market has good competitive options. So there are opportunities, and we wanted to make sure we included that in the scope for the RSN POC as well.
Thank you. It's a great framing of kind of why it's so important to us and kind of what we did to help build out and explore that. And I think, as you mentioned, I think it'd be good to dig in a bit of detail to one of the particular use cases we looked at for cross-network interaction, which was MasterCard's multi-token network. So maybe turning to you, Jonathan, can you talk a bit about the MTN and how it functioned within the RSN exploration?
Thanks very much, Charles. So what we're seeing and hearing here is the vast number of capabilities that digital asset and tokenized money and the capabilities that brings out to the ecosystem. With a multi-token network, we're really looking at how do we enable commercial bank money to become smarter and to be able to be used in a wider range of different use cases. So what we wanted to do and demonstrate in the use case here was show how RSN can kind of extend its capabilities through by allowing other networks to build upon it. So we leveraged the connectivity that Jack spoke about in terms of the Swift connectivity, but also through direct APIs to enable transactions that were happening and enabled by the multi-token network to be settled directly in RSN using central bank money, tokenized central bank money. So the use cases we really looked at was the ability for a set of participants, two client banks, that were on both the RSN network and the MTN network to enable their clients to purchase a digital asset. And they did that by enabling MTN to be used as a payment mechanism on that digital asset platform. So by having this embedded payment mechanism, those clients could use their commercial bank money on the participant directly on that network to pay for a digital asset. And what we enabled and demonstrated was that purchase of the digital asset could be synchronized with the settlement that was happening between the institutions in central bank money. So providing near real-time settlement through two different connectivity mechanisms, both one case the direct connection, but also through the Swift network, to show how additional use cases can really be unlocked through the RSN model. And I think there's something incredibly powerful here by having this design that enables this kind of settlement substrate to be in place, holding both tokenized commercial bank money and tokenized central bank money, but exposing that through a set of APIs and connectivity mechanisms that enable others to build on top of it. We're seeing the huge amount of innovations happening in this space. It's moving so incredibly quickly. So having a model that allows the ecosystem to be supported as new use cases come about with different participants, different payment networks, but all to be able to make advantage of that settlement capability in central bank money is a huge advantage. And being able to do that on a 24/7 basis in near real time really opens up the capabilities of what you can do with existing commercial bank money that exists in a variety of different places. So it's been, I think, a really powerful demonstration. If you design the platform in the right way, it really becomes a kind of substrate and a foundation for further innovation to happen on top of it.
Thank you. Maybe just staying with you for a minute, maybe you could talk a bit more about some of the other interoperability cases we looked at and what the benefits they offered as well.
Yeah, so I'll speak to the Tacit use case there, Charles, because what Tacit really demonstrated was they are a network in themselves, enabling tokenized central bank money or tokenized commercial bank money to be used between their participants. But those participants are not necessarily going to be members or able to be members of RSN itself. So what the Tacit use case had demonstrated was there was a model of an existing RSN member to act as a settlement agent for these other different types of institutions. So again, showing this layering on approach that enabled non-member participants to benefit from that clearing and settlement, or the settlement that happens in tokenized central bank money between the participants of the Tacit network. So again, it's kind of really broadening out the scope of who an RSN network can benefit there. It's not just the direct members, but through these relationships that can form, acting as a settlement agent, you can really broaden out the level of capabilities to other networks and to other participants in that network. So I think it's a really interesting demonstration by Tacit there to show what could be done and how the benefits of this real-time settlement in central bank money on a 24/7 24/7 basis can really be opened up to a broader audience.
Okay, so the emphasis is the non-member participants. All right, well, sounds good on paper, but when we jump back before I presented that particular clip, if you will, well, there was a lot of emphasis on the people from ISO. So again, Gilbert Verdian's call to action, basically, or get off the pot. And where I'm going with that is basically what's going on with ISO, because Quant in itself is ISO, not ISO 222, but ISO TC 307, their own particular standard for building on blockchain. But if they're the orchestrator, I should say if they are the orchestrator, in that clip, how many times did you see references to, you know, synchronization, harmonization, orchestration, and so on? So again, this is all adding up for me. Where does it lead to? Well, it leads to, again, call for action, which already happened last August, and also to the call to evidence. That's why I was presenting that particular piece to you. All right, so the evidence is clear that there will be this new shift, if you will. So when we talk about members and participants and so on, well, if the call to action is there's a mandate coming up for November of next year, well, if you are a non-member participant, well, how long do you really have to become just that, a member? A member of what? The Regulated Liability Network? Member of maybe the RSN, the Regulated Settlement Network? Because, you know, we could FUD QNT all day long when it comes to, oh, it's just an ERC20 token. But understand that with full interoperability, you're not settling, necessarily speaking, in ERC20 QNT. No, you are settling with real-time gross settlements as shown in numerous demos. I'm not going to do it again, you know, because I've shown it numerous times. You could quickly settle with something like Ripple XRP. Through what? The Overledger. And we've shown this, or even XDC. Which brings me to this next particular part, to pound it home. I'm going to pull up, also on your screen, is this key area that I fast forwarded to. And let's just get into it. It is this. It's basically from a year ago, but it pounds home everything that we have been talking about. This is at the Digital Euro Conference, DEC 23, December 23rd, excuse me. Regulated Liability Network by Dr. Jan Rosen from Ernst & Young. Think about some of these key people. All right. As I zoom in a little bit about this, I want you to see some of the emphasis before I play this. Key building blocks of the RLN. RLN is a public-private partnership and concept for a new FMI with the following characteristics. Has to be regulated, has to be on a global network, based on DLT, shared ledger, has to be multi-currency and multi-asset. Did we not see some of these things recently? Has to be programmable. Think about that, programmable. Doesn't Quant boast the whole thing of programmable money? I mean, come on. Are we overthinking this at this point? Look at the next part. This will apply only to digital money that are considered as regulated liabilities. And it says focus on the RLN. Central bank money, Quant, check. Commercial bank money, check mark for Quant again. Electronic money. Maybe some of the other bigger players like your Ripple XRPs and so on. But it has to be always on, just like you saw recently, right? Which was mentioned. And you have to have on-chain finality of settlement, right? Well, it would make more sense to go with something like XRP. And speaking of XRP, if you go to the very bottom of the screen, of all the ones that are listed here, okay, who do you see listed right next to IBM? You see Ripple. Okay. What about some of the other key players of, you know, that what they're connected to? Stasis, they're connected to XDC. What about, for example, Circle with stablecoins and so on? That's there, right? And for example, you have, I believe, the Central Bank of Hungary, if I'm not mistaken. They already had that partnership going on with Quant. That's, if you're wondering which one that is, that's right next to DZ Bank and between Banker Verbrand. You obviously see the Bank of International Settlements. You see, for example, Visa. It's hard to see it because it's, the timeline's covered up. You see Banque de France. And of course, you see JP Morgan. So all these big players are here. But again, emphasis on Ripple at this particular point. Why? Because I want to highlight the interest around the globe. Right. The interest around the globe is saying, do you have evidence to support Gilbert Verdian's call to action with a call to evidence? The answer is yes. Listen to this. Jump back here in a moment to wrap it all up. Here we go.
So this concept has now basically gained a lot of interest around the globe. There's currently an investigation phase in the US where 8 banks came together with the New York Fed innovation team to do a pilot. So this phase has been completed. So we expect the reports of this pilot to come out very soon. We have interest groups in Australia. There are people looking into it in the UK, in Switzerland, Hong Kong, Singapore, and also there's an interest in Europe as well. So, and I think the beauty about this is everyone is basically working on the same concept. So it's not like everyone has his own concept and trying to bring this together. It's the same white paper they are referring to, it's the same mechanics. And this is the good thing about this.
Hey!
Because Tony published this publicly, so there's a website called regulatedliabilitynetwork.org where you can download this white paper. There have been many key contributors to this white paper, not just banks, also PSPs and network operators. It's basically open source. It's not published under the city logo. It's a common or it's a joint effort from the whole industry. And it's still not finished. Of course, we know there will be probably variations going forward. So it's still open for discussion. And all of these groups which come together around the globe will contribute to this concept. So that's the reason why I like the idea. Okay, having said that, I think it would be good if you download the white paper to understand what this is all about. And yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, the point is seeing how this all comes full circle. Jumping to the next part, because what you also saw was a lot of emphasis on POC, proof of concept, which brings us to this right here. I'll pull this up on your screen for just a moment. So when you saw his presentation, he showed, for example, Australia. He showed, for example, the United States. A lot of you guys want to see what's going on in the United States. Well, it brings us to this. SIFMA, all right? This was posted December 5th, not that long ago. What does it say? Members of the United States financial sector demonstrate feasibility of multi-asset cross-network settlement using shared ledger technology. Is this not aging well? Are we not paying attention to this? Because if you are paying attention to this, you can see clearly how this is all coming full circle. The regulated settlement network proof of concept demonstrated the potential of a shared ledger technology to upgrade multi-asset and cross-network transaction settlement for domestic users of US dollar and regulated securities. My goodness. Why isn't this being talked about enough? I have no idea. Maybe because we're blindsided with, all the retail news going on out there. But I'll highlight this for you guys. December 5th, right from New York. Interesting to see at the same time, Brad Garlinghouse or Ripple announcing, hey, we got the whole thing of, approval from New York. Remember that? Right? Yeah, this all adds up. So members of the U.S. financial services sector published the findings of an industry proof of concept that explored the feasibility of regulated settlement network RSN. RSN is envisioned as an interoperable settlement network. Think about the terminology for multi-asset and cross-network transactions. All right, what kind of results came from it? I know I'm reading this a lot verbatim, but it needs to be read. Building on the results of a previous POC, again, back to what I showed you from a year ago, the RSN POC tested how simultaneous and coordinated 24/7 settlement capabilities would be achieved for multi-asset and cross-network transactions involving tokenized central and commercial bank deposits, U.S. Treasury securities, and other regulated assets. Now, I also got to read this real quick. Currently, transfers of commercial bank deposits, wholesale central bank deposits, and securities such as U.S. Treasuries and investment-grade IG debt. Look at this. Look at this. Come on, pay attention to this. I'm serious. Don't let this go past your head. Are all settled on a separate siloed systems. I mean, my God, back to Gilbert Verdian's examples. How many times over the course of many years now has he talked about this? Breaking down the walled gardens, right? So this is pounding home. This can lead to inefficiencies in transaction processing, increased operational risk, higher costs due to reconciliations across disparate systems, reduced transparency, and slower settlement times. Hence why, in order to have the regulated liability network, you also had to have the regulated settlement network. All right, let's bring you to the next part of this. Why is this important? Well, in this executive summary, what do you see? The regulated settlement network, RSN proof of concept, is an industry initiative built upon the foundation established within the regulated liability network. Of course, it was founded basically in 2023. And look, United States is right there at the forefront. So I think Michael Cornwell was right on this. He said it a few years ago. He believed that the United States was sitting in the background the whole time. There's your answer. It was literally sitting there in the background the whole time. And I'm not trying to get conspiracy here, but to me that makes sense. I will read the bottom part. So it's the outcome of the RSN technology work stream focusing on three key accomplishments: the prototype of a shared settlement venue, the development of a multi-asset infrastructure, and the addition of interoperability capabilities. Think about it. Don't overthink about it. Which brings us to this. This is from SIMFA. Look what it says. Seriously. The experiment was conducted in a test environment and used simulated data to conduct transactions denominated in US dollars. And this all came out this same time that Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple XRP says, we got the green light from New York, everybody, in regards to RLUSD. Come on. Come on. All right, look at this. Speaking of the RLN, what do we have from Gilbert Verdian? I'm telling you flat out, look, what do we have from Gilbert Verdian? Gilbert states, good evening. Today at SWIFT with regulators, this is a while back, don't get me wrong, policymakers and FS colleagues discussing the future of financial services, payments, and digital money. Lots of opportunities to innovate with who, what, where, when, how, the regulated liability network to fight fraud with programmability. That's the thing I mentioned at the beginning of the outline. So programmability, right. Transform the financial infrastructure to digital and bring innovation for A2A and cross-border use cases. Wow. Thank you, Gilbert Verdian. What else do we have in regards to this? Look at what it says on the far right. Cross-ledger transaction integration. Over-ledger, if you're not aware of it, solution from Quant Network, available for OBP and deployed on OCI. Middleware that enables developers to write clients that interop across OBP, Corda, by the way, Quorum, Ethereum, Ripple XRP, Bitcoin, Stellar, IOTA, EOS. We've already been down that rabbit hole. And back to Gilbert Verdian. What does he have? Members of the United States financial sector have demonstrated the feasibility of multi-asset cross-network settlement. And back to what I just literally talked about. He likes this. This is, of course, from Quant Papa's language of Dutch. So Gilbert likes this. Why would Gilbert go out of his own way to like this? Think about it. Don't overthink about it. So with that said, there's a big shift that's going to happen. But let's face it, some people will only put the focus on what's going to happen at the end of this year. Or you will get flooded out of this by other channels out there. They're going to say that there's way better opportunities with other things. Hey, guess what? I just provide research. You got to choose what you got to do. I get that. But my thing is this. If you weather the storm this long enough already, you can't wait to see what's really going to happen. That would absolutely eat me alive to the core of my own soul and being. I would want to find out what would actually happen with real utility being put into motion. You know, this is still just retail money that we see as far as price action. When we invested into utility for a real reason, we're not even there yet. My key thing is give it a chance, see what happens, right? Yes, there's some projects that have better tokenomics than the others. But when we talk about, you know, real-time gross settlements and so on, well, Ripple XRP has to stand out in that regard. Stellar has to stand out in that regard. And guess what? Something I forgot to mention also, back to the whole thing of what we shared earlier. And that is, on the screen, MTN was mentioned numerous times. MTN in regards to MasterCard. So with Quant, you already have the whole thing with MasterCard. Hedera, you already have the whole thing with MasterCard. And one of the key partnerships recently announced from Meridian with Stellar was with MasterCard. MasterCard doesn't want to miss the boat. Neither does Visa, moving into this next era of Web3. We're not in Web3 yet. We're like at 2.7, if you will. But we will get there. They want to be there too, because they realize that they have to have a seat at the table when it comes to the regulated liability network, but what it settles in with the regulated settlement network. So do me a favor. If you listen to this entire outline, simply type this into the comments. And that is RSN, as in Regulated Settlement Network. And I'll know that you listened to the entire outline. Really appreciate you guys listening to these deep dives, whether they're on the live show or they're in recorded format. As the saying goes, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. God bless you all. I'm rooting for all your success. I truly mean that. So with that said, I'm going to jump back into the comments. We're going to close out the show here in a bit. And if anything, what you just saw right there will be on a recorded segment. So let's jump back into the comments. You guys rock. We had a pretty good showing tonight. 365 total on X and YouTube. All right, so let's go further down. Tim Shea says he has a small bag of Ethereum. It's supposed to be like Stronghold for Africa. It has a super low market cap. Very speculative play. Cool. I'm absolutely honored to see Wade, DHN Crypto, in the house. You ever want to do a collaboration? I don't even know if you're still here, but it'll be awesome. But I'm always honored to see you. I see you at our X Spaces. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it. I also see you posting in the comments. You rock. Give him a follow. Most of you guys are over on his platform, THN Crypto, on YouTube. All right. Want to welcome Anthony Hall. Good to see you, brother. Joshua Seha, if I'm pronouncing it right. Would you say 10,000 XDC? Yeah. Yeah. Also with Stellar. Yeah. I would say more. You know, you got to keep in mind, 2028 might be pretty much like a bearish year. But again, we're referencing everything of the past, of the 4-year cycles and so on. And would 2025, at the end of 2025, be where we reference a utility cycle? We can't reference things that haven't happened yet. So, you know, but yeah, I would definitely say that is not bad at all. And it's, again, about how long you choose to hold it and your expectations of where it will realistically go. And if you haven't had that conversation with yourself, you need to do that. And where I'm going with this, all is this. So we talk a lot about ISO coins and tokens and numerous different projects here on this platform. For me personally, I already added this up. I know this sounds crazy, but the way I look at it is not counting my ISO coins. Okay, if I was to take, for example, and not Jasmine either. So like if I took Filecoin, Clearpool, you know, some of the other projects I'm into, the Graph, you know, ones I don't normally talk about here all the time, I already added that all up. And, you know, with my expectations with those, I'm looking long term. We're talking to, you know, like 2030 basically. That should be about $4 million. So I think that these conversations, always have them with yourself. Realize your expectations, where they can realistically go, right? There's one thing about like where it could, you know, where it goes bat-ish crazy on speculative. Even with what I'm saying sounds speculative, but I'm also looking at it from the perspective of like, okay, like a lot of people don't watch my Clearpool video. That's okay. But in that, I give examples. It's the RWA market, right? Real world asset tokenization market. To see that growth, so I'm like, huh, interesting to see this. And my expectations was $22 for Clearpool. But other particular platforms had me beat on that sooner. I was blown away. But RWA obviously is a real thing, and of course on multiple platforms. All right, I'm gonna go further down. Royal Knights, good evening. Room, welcome Max. Thank you. That's at 7:25. So that was a while ago. I'm gonna go further down. We have Donald Trump purchased 1 million worth of Chainlink, supposedly. Interesting. All right. I am no longer into Chainlink, by the way. Maybe that disappoints some people, but I did swap it for some Quant a while back. But I did held it for quite some time. But I'm rooting for everybody's success in regards to Chainlink. So, let's see here. Josh says, thought I saw it just for base companies. Okay. Let me see what other questions you guys have. Let's see. Marie, welcome, welcome. That was probably a while back. And what else do we have? Joey, welcome, welcome. Ahmed, welcome back. Ahmed, you got that avatar I was telling you about. You need to have that for, you know, on voting day, right? So I'm glad you have it back. To the Moon 2025, right on. All right. Chuffa11 says he feels like he looked into Ark of the Covenant having my face melted off. That's one way of looking at it. OG Cryptos talking to Tim. All right, let's go further down. Utility Maximus, from one Maximus to another. He says, I heard Quant won't be used in the US. Anyone no different? I think that answers the question in the outline. All right. So I think that definitely answers what's going on. Because, I mean, there's too much there. You have, for example, MIT, Thomas Harjano. How many times did MIT collaborate with Quant Network? You know, then you have the Internet Engineering Task Force. How many times you saw collaborations? There's just too much there in that regard. How many times do you see Gilbert Verdine still, as we speak, he's a chair. You know, let me just share this real quick with you. All right. This is not me shooting down what you're saying. I mean, it's okay. But look at this for a second. Just in case you haven't seen this. Let's go ahead and share this. This is just some bonus coverage. I've shared this before on videos. So what do we have? If you go to gilbertverdian.com/CV, you see here all the ones that he's part of from, you know, a few years to present, right? So the key thing is understanding, what does it say? United States Federal Reserve System. So that's the U.S. Federal Reserve Fed Payments Improvement Community, April 2018 to present. Okay. And even back from 2017, 2018, as part of the Secure Payments Task Force. So when we talk about that 24/7 system in the United States and the RLN and RSN, boom, there you go. All right. Let's go further down. OG Crypto, good question. Doesn't matter. England, Canada, France, most of the Europe, only 20 million supply of QNT. Actually, it's 14.88 million, but that's okay. It's another BTC or greater. So it's got less of a supply compared to BTC. Absolutely. OG Stellar, no problem. Let's see. Let's go further down. I've done a few of those. I've done more than a few of those. So, but my magic moment is late 2025. All right. OG Crypto says, hard to say, not financial advice, but what does everyone else think? I'm thinking conservative 5,000 to 50,000. Talking about Quant. What years do you feel as though that's going to happen? All right. Let's read a few more. PEP wins 7. Considering Trump moving U.S. into crypto, QNT is going to be 1K by the end of 2025. You're being pretty conservative with that. Awesome. That's one way of looking at it. I'll be so glad to fully shake what I have. Because it's getting kind of annoying. And yes, I've taken everybody's advice. Lots of zinc, vitamin C, all the good stuff, right? It was the Saturday before last Saturday. I almost had to go to the hospital. It was like it felt like I was breathing through a tiny straw. You know, like if you go to like a board meeting, or you know, like there's a little styrofoam coffee cup that they give you, and they put a little straw in there. It's really narrow, right? They always give you that narrow straw. It felt like I was breathing out of that. I almost called 911 that day. It was pretty brutal. Said a few prayers to say the least, but I got through it. I'm just I don't know. I got some things, hereditary speaking, where my esophagus is really, really narrow. So anyway, Craig Berg was hoping Quant would go much higher. Oh yeah, of course. We'll see it. We'll definitely see what will happen with that. My thing is just you got to wait and see. I know people don't like hearing that, but in reality, we're all waiting and seeing. You're a bit more bullish. That's cool. All right, PEP 7 possible, but countries are going to fight over getting a BTC reserve. That's a good point. Utility Maximus. Be happy with 1K next year, not selling in time. Oh, okay, cool. You're thinking 1,500 to 1,800. You guys kind of all around the same area, pretty much. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, no problem. That's at 750. That's still a little bit behind. All right, Craig Berg. I'm only selling maybe half if any of this run. If it goes to 5K, I can sell 100. Be okay with it probably. Tic-tac-toe, says Nova. Gabriel Gonzalez. QNT isn't American, so it will pump after everything else. Well, I hear you. My thing is, when we talk about interoperability, it connects to everything. So it wouldn't really matter if it was, American and so on. But I get the perspective. I respect that. All right. You're keeping 500 until 2028 or 2030. Dang, man, you got me beat. I wish I had 500. I'm just trying to get to my goal of 200 personally, but I mean, I'll get there. I have some other plans, for some other coins to be able to power swap it. I always said to myself, it'd be cool to have like 1,000 quant, but I have, I got to pump the brakes on that one. I have to, really be strategic about that. But, timing the market and so on, it's tough. It's tough for all of us. All right. Utility maximum, small bag, less than 100. We'll have to wait a few years to even consider selling. I wouldn't consider 100 a small bag. I mean, like some people ask, what's the minimum? I would say 10. It just, again, depends on how long you're willing to hold it. I'm not the only one who feels that way. What, Nick and Cash feels 10, but anyway. All right, let's see. Probably a smart idea, plus there are places where it bears interest now on your quant. Waiting for regulations. Cool. Craig Berg. Yes, I'm waiting for staking and want to make passive income off 500 of them. Yeah, you know what? Anybody has over 200 and you're doing staking, that probably is going to benefit you really well with staking. All right, let's go further down. I never get to see Max half the time anymore on these shows. Too busy. Oh, yeah. Well, I wasn't feeling too well before the show started. If you want me to be honest, this is going to gross some people out. I threw up before I came on the show. I told Rue that. I was supposed to have a Swift coin outline for you guys. I wasn't able to do it because I was throwing up for an hour. And before I even came, Rue was like, why's your eyes all bloodshot? It wasn't because I was doing the ganja stuff, right? No. It's because I'm literally throwing up, which is horrible. So, yeah, I feel as though I'm finally getting better, but, man, this is not this instant, but, when I came back from Will Fix's place, it was that plane ride home. So just give you guys a heads up. The ventilation on the plane, this is like on a medium-sized Airbus. There's like 400 to 500 people. So on the plane ride home, there was no ventilation. The captain, the pilot, announced it and he apologized. So it's like no ventilation. You know what I'm talking about? You ever at a plane, you got those little things you turn for the ventilation. So all was blowing out was hot air. Yeah, it was horrible. So everybody's sweating buckets on this plane. So it's a 4-hour plane ride from, you know, southeastern Tennessee. Well, at that time, the connector flight was actually Charlotte, North Carolina, further east, if you will. And so from that plane from North Carolina to Phoenix, it was like 4 hours of people sweating buckets. So it's like somebody definitely had something, you know. So I did get tested. No, I didn't have COVID, but man, I got something crazy. It was just, I'm still hoarse, but I mean, I'm functionable, you know. But if you guys were wondering why do I have limited content, that was why. But I'm looking to get back into things. I want to be able to provide you guys. I know this sounds like a stretch, but my goal, as far as like, you know, me getting there anytime soon, my goal is I want to be able to do 3 videos, like 7 days a week. Right, so where one airs at like 8 o'clock in the morning, another one airs at noon, another one airs at like 6 p.m. and then get back to at least doing like 1 or 2 shows a week, because the channel is really scaling up. Shout out to our brother Will Fix. His channel is really scaling up. My gosh, he's like over, I think he's at like 21,000 subs or something like that. And you know, before Thanksgiving, he was at like 16,000. So he's doing really well. This channel is finally starting to take off too, which is really cool. Really blessed, happy to you know, share that. All right. Yet these crypto prices almost make me want to go out and rob a bank. Why would you want to, rob a bank? That sounds kind of weird, you know, rubbing one out to a bank, you know what I mean? Like, why would you, that sounds bad too. Anyway, this is horrible. Just butchering this whole thing up, right? Anyway. All right, let's see here. You're lucky seal life. All right, that's cool. OG crypto. At least I would do something good with it for other people. That's good. Stump right. RSN. All right, you guys got RSN. You guys listen to it. Right on. Right on. Appreciate that. You guys rock. Look at that. All right. You guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. You're very welcome. Everybody loves, who doesn't want to be appreciated, right? All right, Stingy Bayberry, thank you for that from X. Appreciate you, Stingy. And that's an interesting background you got there. All right, OG Crypto, Mr. Gangsta. Well, I'm 36 minutes behind you guys, so I'm going to say goodbye and good luck to everyone. You're going to see what I just said then a little bit later. Well, you take it easy, Mr. OG Crypto. Yeah, no problem. You're welcome, Stefan. Oh, no, Tim. All right, that's the Tim. Nerdy X. Hey, thanks, Nerdy X. Appreciate that, brother. Shout out to you and the rest of the XRP army. And let's see here. John Holmes. Great job, Maximus. Your thoughts on the cycles. We acknowledge what the stock market, Dallas, Texas, and 26 will hold. Don't know about the stock market. I hold some stocks, don't get me wrong. But I'm not going to even BS you guys when it comes to stocks. But if anything, if you're alluding to with the tokenization, you know, like securities and stocks and so on, I mean, obviously it's going to be pretty big. But what's that? What stock market in Dallas, Texas? Yeah, apparently they're going to, you know, do the whole thing of like, was it Texas Stock Exchange and whatnot? I mean, Texas economy seems like it's going to really be blasting off, especially 2025 moving forward. All right, Anthony Hall, Wade, and Max would be a great collaboration. Yeah, I'd be so humbled and honored. He's an awesome guy. So he's definitely one of the real ones, in my opinion. All right, Light, hey Light, good to see you, man. That is, was it the Line of Judah? That's cool. Max, you rock. Thank you for helping all of us. You rock too. Appreciate that. All right. Do you hold any? Yes, I do have Caspa. I mine Caspa. I'm kind of upset with my miner right now. You know, me and Will Fix, we do a miner together. He has, I think, either 2.5 or 3.5 miners on his own. Well, well, with me would be, you know, part of that equation. But to give you a heads up, when we first started, which was early this year, we were bringing in at first 400 CASPA a day, and then it went to 300, and then went to 200, and now it's 100 every 3 to 4 days. It's pretty bad. And if you also follow CASPA, they do halvings technically every month, and then a full halving once a year. So you know, back to what was talking about the cycles, John. Well, basically it's like this, you know. CASPA is a whole different ballgame when it comes to proof of work. So, you know, it's like, it's kind of frustrating right now, to say the least, because you see those earnings going down. Is that me fudding myself out of CASPA? No. But the electricity basically is costing, well, it's still, I'm still getting a little bit more compared to the electricity, but it's not like how it was where, oh man, this is sweet, 400 CASPA a day, you know, and then my end, I get to keep 200 because, you know, I got to split with Will because, you know, we went 50-50 on a miner. But those miners, those same miners, I mean, shoot, you know, I spent like 6,000 on my half, if you imagine that, for a miner. And, you know, the same miner goes for probably like $1,900. So the way I look at it is, what happens if CASPA was to moon, as the saying goes, or go to $1? Well, then, geez, then it's more than worth it with mining. These are all the risks. I should say all the risks, but, you know, anything out there is a risk, right? You know, and so it's a frustration, but we're not going to stop mining. Our hope is, of course, CASPA to rebound. So let me answer a little bit more about this. Keep up the amazing work. The amount of research you do. Thank you. Appreciate that. I've done deep dives on CASPA. I just, like, you know, a lot of other channels, excuse me, you know, I should have probably covered it from the very, very beginning, but I wasn't into it at the very, very beginning. And it is what it is, you know, and that's okay. Hey, Trish, good to see you. Welcome back. Obviously, you're bullish on CASPA. All right. When we get paid, we should tip out Max for all the work he's done. Time is money. And he saves me time and research. Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I mean, you know, we're all a community. We are going to get together in the future. I'm telling you, I'm not just saying that. We will. It'll be a real thing. You know, it's just like call it like a victory parade or whatever. There will be a real event. As far as the venue and where we'll be at, you know, we'll get to there and discuss that in the future. But I do appreciate OG. Thank you, man. Nerdy X, Q&T for the win. Yes, sir. Trish is saying hello to Tim. Pep wins 7, the $10 super chat. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Thanks for getting the public up to speed. Any DeFi reviews in the future? The videos you're putting out. Yeah, actually. So I'm looking to do more collaborations with Adam of Vibra Finance. I do look at it, you know, like I can't be, I use this expression, I can't just be a utility snob. I think a lot of us in the space are very dismissive. I'll just be honest. I'm not going to call out any names out there, but there's clearly people out there that will dismiss the now money. Or there's people out there that are only into memes, but they won't get to utility, and vice versa. I'm an investor, all right? I got to look at every different angle I possibly can. Why haven't I talked a lot about memes in the past? I lost about $10,000 in memes, but also, if it wasn't for the Cokes and Pepsis of memes, I wouldn't be here with you guys today. You know, my Doge and my SHIB and whatnot. So the way I look at it is, and I know that, you know, a lot of people are not the biggest fans of Richard Hart and whatnot, but the way I look at it is I can put my emotions aside with that. I am trying to learn more about this whole thing of Hex, and, you know, there's, for example, Titan X that, you know, Adam's been talking about. There's Gugod of his community. They're really bullish on that. And there's other projects where you could stake, or in some cases they call it mine, but in reality it's not real true mining, but, you know, they just call it that. It's just a terminology, you know, analogy. But with those guys, I've really seen, and also the community, I've really seen real examples with screenshots of like now money. So, you know, we talk about DeFi. I want to get more into some of these particular things. And, you know, that's where it's at. So I got to get with Adam and maybe do another collaboration and, you know, bring it to you guys. But yeah, I would totally agree. I do thank you, Pep7. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. That was very kind of you. God bless you, sir. Appreciate it. To the moon, yo, 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 from New Zealand. Genius Song QNT is the next generation. That's exactly the way I look at it. Exactly the way I look at it. I got an announcement I'm going to give you guys here in a little bit. Actually, it's about BSV. I know it sounds shocking. I haven't done BSV in a while. I can give it a shot. I mean, I'm open to some things, you know. All right. All that. Oh, yeah, definitely. All right. Vitamin D, widespread deficiency. One can get cancer, diabetes, and a whole host of serious illness when one is D deficient. Yeah. No, I agree. Well, I live in Phoenix. I've been trying to stand out in the sun a little bit longer, you know, and try to walk, you know, and soak in some of that vitamin D, you know. All right. Norway omega-3 fish oil. I have some old capsules. I don't know how old they are, though. But yeah, I would agree with that. So that JP Morgan, that's already been debunked a while back, my friend. A lot of people feel as though the XCN with JP Morgan. So XCN Onyx coin, even though I've never done my own particular deep dives, that part I did get verification from a few people. That is not the same thing. Onyx blockchain, and like, for example, there's also JP Morgan coin. Those are two separate things. You know what I mean? So like some people also think like Swift coin is also the same as, you know, Swift as in like the messaging system. You know, the what is that abbreviation for Swift? Hold on. Swift. Swift stands for the Society of Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. Some people feel as though that Swift coin is that. It's not that. Those are two different things also, right? So I just want to put out that disclaimer. All right. Timing is everything. So I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but my thing was like my realistic expectations for like things like Shiba Inu, because I got back into that because that was one of my top, actually that was my top performer in 2021. So my thing is, to me, again, it's just my own opinion. I see going to 302. But lately I've been seeing a lot of stuff about like, I can't believe this, to be honest, but like Shiba Inu ETF, like, oh my gosh, if that actually becomes a real thing, then you have people that don't know anything about this stuff, like a grandma, just, you know, oh, that's a cute little picture, I'm going to get into that. That means more liquidity. So I've seen a lot of crazy price predictions. I don't agree with the penny. I don't agree with the half a penny, but I could see possibly 305, or what I believe it to be is 302. So at 302, that's like $200,000 in SHIB. I would so freaking power swap that to QNT. If it does 305, well, then that's more, you know, that'd be $500,000. I would literally do a power swap to $200,000 of QNT. Now, my hope would be at the time that, you know, some people aren't going to like me saying this, but it's all right. My hope would be that like QNT would still be like, you know, where I could swap that amount, like let's say $250,000 worth, right? I could power swap that to like 1,000 QNT. Again, it would depend on how much QNT would be. But to me, that's the ultimate play for me. I've only shared that with a few people. I guess I'll let the cat out of the bag. But that's the way I look at it, because from there, then I guess sell a little bit of it. But again, I just, some people are like, geez, like how much money do you really want to make? At the end of the day, I have some huge dreams, and those dreams require a lot of money. And yeah, that's just one strategy on that. I have some other ones in regards to Clearpool and so on, but I don't want to make this a 3-hour show. So, but you know, it's a good question. Hey, thank you, man. Your name rocks, right? From one Maximus to another. Thank you, Utility Maximus. Trish, actually, better still take 2,500 units of vitamin D a day, Max. Oh, okay. All right. Talk about XRP DeFi plan, if any. I don't have one at the exact moment. See, XRP is something that I'm really trying to reanalyze. Like, so currently speaking, I gave this answer at the beginning. Is my ISO coins and also Jasmy. I don't honestly think I touch that long term. Like when I say long term, I'm thinking literally like unless something just absolutely crazy happens, like, you know, Will Fix's prediction of like thousands of dollars of XRP overnight, then of course have to reevaluate that. But one reason why I like being so diversified is I will not marry my Filecoin. I will not marry my Clearpool. I will not marry my Graph and my Audius and, you know, some of these other ones that I'm into. I'm not going to marry those. I'm just not going to. But the ISO coins and Jasmy, it's like, man, I really want to see where those are going to go. So for me, obviously, November of 2025, it's just like, why in the world would anybody who's been holding like 2 or more bull markets, right? All of a sudden just get out of XRP completely, just sell it all, you know, before seeing real utility emotion with mandates happening. That's where it's at for me. Where it's also there for me is that whole thing that really bugs the heck out of me, and maybe bugs the heck out of you guys too. Jasmy, to my knowledge, is the only cryptocurrency project in the world that's ever had a white paper where it literally specifically mentions in the white paper $17 KPI sometime in 2026. I would not want to be the guy who sold Jasmy at $1, whenever that happens in, you know, 2025 and so on. Don't get me wrong, that's a huge milestone. Without waiting and seeing about the whole thing of 2026. And why do I point out 2026? Well, of course, I've done many deep dives, but look it up yourself. Sony and Honda, all right? That car in itself is so well connected to IoT. And when does it roll out? 2026. It's just like there's so much there. You know, to me, like, you talk about an itch that needs to be scratched, or, you know, I have to wait. I'm not telling you guys what to do, but that's where it's at for me. I wouldn't want to get out of things before seeing them fully blossom, if you will. That would bug the living crap out of me. I don't know if it would bug me as much as the Bitcoin pizza guy, but it definitely would bother me. You get where I'm going with that? I mean, jeez. I mean, he claims it doesn't bother him, but come on. That deep down, that has to bother him. You know? Gerald Briggs, holding QNT long-term staking. Awesome. Oh, Sauce, nice. I got to do probably an update in regards to Sauce. So, don't bring a gun to where? All right, Trish, have you spoken about 100 million invested in AI and XRP? Nope, I have not talked about that. But, you know, we could maybe do that on a different outline or a different day. All right, let's see here. Let's go further down. I know, Craig, nobody ever talks about it. JP Morgan does not make anything to fail. All right. JD, thank you for taking the time to post on X. I do appreciate it in regards to RSN. Everybody, welcome anybody that you don't normally see. All right, Trish, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. And thank you, appreciate it. I am trying to feel better. I was trying to get something nice in regards to Swift Coin before the show, but stuff happened. All right. Craig Berg, from my hearing, XCN is not JP. Correct. Yeah. All right. I think that could be misinformation because the whole JP Morgan coin. Well, you guys are going to have to work that out. But anyway. All right, let's see. Rivers in the house. Chaga coffee works well. Oh, that mushroom. Is that the mushroom coffee that I keep hearing about? All right. Look up XCN. That's JP Morgan's coin, as far as I know. Hasn't changed. But here's the thing though, OG. There's a difference between Onyx blockchain, okay, with JP Morgan. All right, and then there's also the JPM coin, right? Then there's a difference between Onyx as an XCN, as in the cryptocurrency that is available to buy for retail, like you, me, and everybody else. That's the point I'm trying to make. So they're two separate entities. There's one that's literally with JP Morgan, which is Onyx blockchain. And then there's XCN, you see what I'm saying, which is, that's their ticker symbol. All right. Trish, not to labor the point, Max, but even folks who got plenty of sun are you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I definitely should probably do something about that. So yeah, I seen that a few times, and so I'm really glad that I still own a lot of SHIB. Some people, you know, they say, man, you own a lot of SHIB. Like, I have over 1 billion SHIB. It's not me bragging. It's just that's how much I had last time in 2021. My thing is, like, you know, if it did well for me in the past, why wouldn't I get it back into it again? But yeah, the whole thing about ETF, I'm just like, oh man, if that really does happen, my goodness. All right. All right, let's go further down. It's because those are the you know, like the Cokes and the Pepsis, you know, like Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, right? Like, to me, they're, should we call those tier 1 meme coins, if you will? It's a thing. I mean, you say to Google it, well, Google that one too, brother. So yeah, but here's the thing. That is still the now money. You know, I think we talked about this a while back. There's retail liquidity and what you see price action with that. And then there's utility coins, which you've seen a little bit of that, which is cool. But they're different, in my opinion, in investor pools. So those can still absolutely get sent. But as far as use case, no, there's really hardly any use case in that. All right, in the X account you took of the Spirit in Las Vegas. Oh, cool. Okay. Last year about this time. Oh, awesome. I haven't seen that yet. I haven't been to Vegas since I have not been to Las Vegas since 2004, 2005, something like that. Been a while. On GRT, honestly, I'm looking at like at least $10 or more. Just trying to be, you know, conservative on that. I do look at them as legitimately being the Google of, you know, like they're an indexing platform. Well, look at Google, world's most popular indexing platform. That has to have value. When we have proper, here's the thing. How should I say this? I think, honestly, when we get regulations, proper clarity across the board, this will drive up demand of GRT, because GRT will no longer just look at, you know, the indexing of like meme coins and so on. They literally get to see what's going on with all the utility projects and so on. Then, if anything, what about the real utility projects working something out with the graph and saying, yeah, you know, we want you to index our entire ecosystem. When that drives the price up of the graph, I think it would. You know, but right now you don't really see much of that. All right, you guys and your vitamin D and whatnot, that's fine. Yeah, I've pretty much done that to the most part. I don't think I marry ADA. I think, if anything, see, I bought ADA. I put about, I think it was either 3,300 or 4K into, I can't remember, something like that. But I bought way too high. I didn't buy at the top of the top all-time highs, but it was close to that. It was when I first got into altcoins, early 2021. What happened, it was the same guy that told me about Dogecoin at a penny, told me also about, you know, Cardano. And he was just like, oh, it's just going to keep going up. And it's like, I don't know, man. I don't think so. He was just like, hey, who told you about Dogecoin? So it was like that type of thing. I was like, whatever. It's like FOMO, right? I didn't know squat at that point. But but I was learning. But I honestly think that probably after I either break even or get a little bit of a profit from ADA, I probably will swap that for something else that might be on sale that stands out with the ISOs. But I get it. You know, ADA is part of that mix. So I spent too much money on it. All right, hold on. How do you folks justify spending XRP on memes, knowing how much XRP might be worth? I don't spend XRP on memes. That's like a separate thing, but I hear you. I wasted about $10,000 chasing memes, though. But in reality, I still have made more in memes, you know, even with chasing after all the ones that failed. All right. I need to probably wrap this up. We're at the 2 hour and 30-minute mark. You guys can have your lovely back and forth about the Onyx coin, which is fun. BlackRock do a CASPA ETF and F with the price? I don't know. That's a good question. Hard to know some of these things. I would say they're more than capable of doing anything. Yeah. I mean, I know it's going to be hard to hear that, but anyway. Are you telling me, Shar, that it's not a JP Morgan? I tell you, I own 4 million of them. Max had a guy on the show a while back. It's not, OG, brother, it's not the same thing. It really isn't. I love you, man. You rock. But it's not the same thing. It is not the same thing. If you want, like even, I think it was Rob that was on the show. So it would, Crypto Future, he covers it all the time. I'm not into XCN. That doesn't mean I'm not rooting for you guys' success, but he covers that a lot. Check out some of the videos on his channel. Yeah, it's not the same thing. There's Onyx blockchain by JP Morgan. Let me show you this. I guess I'll just do a little bonus. So JP Morgan Onyx. All right. Let's see here. Let me see there. I think there's a thing about this. There kind of is. Yeah. And I don't really have something up on it at the moment. I'll have to do maybe a collaboration or you could just go to him, man. I mean, he's got, but literally there's JP Morgan Onyx and then there's XCN Onyx coin. It's two different things. XCN ticker symbol is separate from JP Morgan's Onyx. That's the point I'm trying to make. All right. All right, let's see here. You have a question from Stefan Echo. Why Velo different price? I don't know how they answer. I'm not in the Velo. Sorry. It doesn't mean that I don't think it's going to do well. I think it's going to do great for you guys. I can't own everything. So JP Morgan coin would be literally JPM coin, literally call that, on the Onyx blockchain. The ecosystem and the infrastructure, though, is with Oracle. That's a real thing. Okay. And Oracle is part of the Quant network ecosystem. And that is a real thing. You're going to have to get more into the weeds of that, brother. Anyway. All right. Enough about that. Let's see here. Do you want to go through another cycle? Jasmine hits $1 in March. I'm more than cool with that because I'm diversified. See, here's the thing. People point out in the past, why don't you just be a Jasmine Maxi? That's so tempting. Why don't I just be a Quant Maxi? It's tempting. But the beautiful thing about having some coins and tokens pop off. So if Jasmine hits $1, would that make me a millionaire? Well, yeah, but there's also taxes and stuff like that. It would still bug the crap out of me if Jasmine went to $17, because the way I would look at it is that would be potentially leaving so much, like 17 times more money on the table, I'm not comfortable with that. If you have a lot of Jasmine, more than I do and others and so on, and you're more than cool with that $1 in March, then as the saying goes, you got to do you, man. At the end of the day, it's not financial advice. But for me personally, that just would bug me too much. That's just me personally. You know what I mean? There's obviously going to be things we get out of and do and whatnot. So, I think he's right, because if you look at the overall crypto market, there's over 2 million different cryptocurrencies out there. Most of them are garbage. Most of them are rug pulls and meme coins and stuff like that. What will stick around will be the ones that have regulatory clarity. I think that's another reason why there's so much emphasis on that. So I would agree with him on that. So be careful. And if you get any hint in the future of, something that you feel like you're marrying that might be a meme coin, and the devs are trying to convince you, let's say it's like a low market cap gem, and blast it off. But the devs are trying to convince you to stay. Again, you gotta draw your own conclusion with that. Like, is it going to be worth it to stay? I'm not telling any of you guys to paper hand anything or any of that. All I'm saying is that I would agree with that statement, because, I mean, in reality, the utility cycle, if 99% go away and that cycle begins in regards to real utility, then what value would it make for the ones with no utility? Some people say, well, memes will still be here. Maybe they're here forever, for all we know. Maybe we have to use VPNs in the future and, purchase meme coins that way. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but I do agree with that comment, and that's okay. I don't know what you're referring to now at this point anyway, Trish. Sorry about that, but yeah, no worries. I'm not the type of guy to get really all bent out of shape when it comes to that. Yeah, no problem. We're just wrapping things up anyway. Exactly. Yeah, he's your go-to when it comes to that. Elon Musk in the house. Look at that. We all need to go to a future rock concert called Elon Musk. All right. Understand that. All right, cool. Diversification. Yeah, I mean, that's the way I look at it. I mean, I pulled back a little bit. I'm not into 60 projects anymore. I think I'm into about maybe 50, 51, give or take. And I'm more than cool with that. Because a good amount of those I won't marry, but my ISOs and my Jasmine, you could call it partial marriage. Maybe to 20, 30. It just depends. I reserve the right to change my mind, but, All right. Damn, when I first got in crypto, there was barely 3,000 coins. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you go to coinmarketcap.com right now. On the top left, it says 2 million plus, 2M plus. So, all right. Yeah, you're very welcome. No problem. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for all, people point out to me, Max, you're missing the boat. Guys, can we agree on this? Gals, everybody. There's ones that I have that you're missing the boat on. And there's ones that you have that I'm missing the boat on. But at the end of the day, maybe we all meet up on a super yacht boat. Get what I'm saying? And we celebrate. So I'm legitimately rooting for all your success moving forward. And, we'll continue to cover all this stuff. So I'm going to try to chop up some of the coverage of tonight. Smash that like on your way out. And if anything, we'll play the outro. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate you. And I'll try to do my best to put out some more coverage soon. I'm going to try to get some XDC for you guys. Oh, the announcement. I forgot. There was an announcement. Seriously, you got to listen to this. Why would somebody like our brother Quant Papa want to help me out with research in regards to BSV? I couldn't believe it. There is some info he found out. So you guys know me, I cover Quant a lot. And with Quant, I always talk about the Finternet. All right, you ready for it? Drum roll. BSV and the Finternet. I kid you not. I got to dive more into it. I just saw a little bit on the surface. I'm going to get into it. I couldn't believe what I saw. That's big. And I haven't covered BSV in a while. So I'm looking forward to doing that, a proper outline. I just need a little more time to, really jump into the weeds of that. So that could be absolutely huge. So, all right. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
On the crime side, the New York Times side, staying alive was no jive. And secondhand moms down stole old man. So then we moved to Shaolin Land. A young block and to go to Logos. Only way I think in the G off was drug news. And let's start it like this, son. Rolling with this one and that one, pulling out gas for fun. But it was just a dream for the team. Who was a fiend, started smoking moolies at 16 and running up any dates and doing hits for house days, making my way on fire escapes. No question, I was feeding for cracks and weed. The combination made my eyes bleed. No question, I would go up and try to get the dough, sticking up white boys and ball courts. My life got no better, same damn low sweater. Times is rough and tough like leather. Figured I went the wrong route, so I got with a gold click and went all out, catching keys from cross seas, rolling in MPVs. Every week we made 40 G's. Your brother, respect my. On here go the Tech 9. Check, check, pow. Who from the gate now? Cash rules everything around me. Screen R-E-A-M. Get the money, dollar, dollar bill, y'all. Cash rules everything around me. Screen R-E-A-M. Get the money, dollar, dollar bill, y'all. Cash rules everything around me. Screen R-E-A-M. Get the money, dollar, dollar bill, y'all. Cash rules.
Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seems kinda odd. No barking from the dog, no small. And mama cooked the breakfast with no haul. I got my glove on, but didn't dig out. Finally got a call from a girl I wanna dig out. Hooked it up for later as I hit the door, thinking, will I live another 24? I gotta go cause I got me a drop top, and if I hit the switch, I can make the ass drop. Had to stop at a red light, looking in my mirror, not a jacker in sight, and everything is alright. I got a beat from Kim, and she can fuck all night. Called up the homies, and I'm asking y'all, which part of y'all playing? Stay on the court and I'm troubled. Last week fucked around and got a triple-double. Freaking nigga every way like MJ. I can't believe a day was a good day. Shit. I can't believe today was a good day.
and switch sides. Hot hole worker Sean John below to the floor. He ought to enjoy with the loaded 4-4. Be sure and acquire more for you fuck with mine. Disrespect, I'll disconnect your line. With a 6-watt, when shit's hot you get shot. The fire, the fury, you fuck with it not. You're stopping the grace, get out my space and my face. For me and my ace to lay down the whole place. Recognize, this is the verbalized surprise. Fucking with me, wrong way to wise, nigga. Hoes, hoes, show, goes, goes. Big old bank rolls, that's all a nigga knows. Throw your elbows, I'm sicker than I suppose. Hold them chose, cause my jury froze. You know how it goes, these young niggas don't want it like this. Go off and get your get to silence the chit-chat blast. So pass, outlast, out cash. More sicky, talk tricky, to the trick like trash. No rilla, a gorilla flow for most rilla. Come clean, looking mean, but you ain't no killer. Drop the top and let the sun shine in. With the wood grain, let the Twinkies spin. Get you a glass, mix the Coke and the hen. It's quite alright with the throw in the wind. With the throw in the wind.
Do we live in a simulation? Probably not, but it is an imitation. The boundary has lifted and arisen limitation. The technology exists to deliver stimulation. Augmented pixels, vivid integration. We've traded our emotions for digital elation. Where you're present in containment. Could be sitting in your basement and living in a matrix at the same time. Hidden like Malaysian Airlines, obliviously taken. Can we use this for the base without giving it to Satan? The App Store logo is the symbol of the Masons. Is this even freedom or is it information? How different is your brain to what's written in a paper? Intelligence evolving, artificially created in a singularity. Training algorithms for persuasion. Conditions will remain in a sticky situation. No vision for a change, only silly conversations. Political debates while they fiddle with your data. The epitome of fake, phony, missionary statements. Whether Christian or pagan or Hinduism is your favorite. Religion is a way of belittling a nation. And this is just the basics. Is it a conspiracy to state the president's a snake? Or a lizard with a face and any minute he could shapeshift? It's difficult to say, but there's unlimited mistakes. And I'm a little bit sick of it today. So I'm sitting here awake inside the pressures in societies. Depression with anxieties. They messing with your mind, it's the stress and no variety. A devil in disguise, you see the redness in your eyes while your head is in the skies. You've never been a liar, but they questioning your life like you've never been alive.